I'm Lucas James Carter. I've got 28 years old, and I live in Reno, Nevada. It's a decent spot, casinos, mountains, the whole deal, but I've always been the type to chase a thrill. That's why, when my old college crew hit me up about a camping trip near Sacramento, I was all in. It had been forever since I'd seen them. Tara Lynn, this artsy firecracker from Oakland. Marcus Ray, the chill dude from Fresno who's way too into craft beer. And Ellie June, a Sacramento local who swore she knew the best spots. We'd all met at UC Davis, bonded over late-night study sessions and dumb pranks. And now here we were, planning a reunion in the woods. The idea came from Ellie. She texted us about this killer spot in the El Dorado National Forest, just a couple hours from Sacramento. Said it had this abandoned lookout tower that had been rotting there since the 70s. Creepy, sure, but perfect for some Instagram shots and a campfire vibe. I was sold. I mean, who doesn't love a little eerie history with their Esmores? Plus, I'd been cooped up in Reno too long, staring at slot machines and snow-capped peaks. A weekend of dirt under my boots sounded like heaven. Packing was a mess, though. I'm that guy who overthinks everything. 2 pairs of socks, a beat-up flannel, my trusty Swiss Army knife, and a half-empty bottle of bourbon I swore I'd share. Tara called me out on it when we met up in Sacramento, laughing that I'd brought hipster survival gear. Marcus just grinned and hauled out his cooler, bragging about some IPA he'd snagged from a brewery in Fresno. Ellie showed up last, her Jeep loaded with tents and a map she'd scribbled on like some treasure hunter. She looked stoked, her curly hair bouncing as she waved us over. We piled into her Jeep and hit the road, Sacramento fading into the rear view as we wound toward the forest. The city's all urban sprawl and heat, but once you're out there, it's pines and silence. Almost too quiet, you know? Ellie kept chattering about the tower, saying it had been abandoned after a fire swept through decades ago. They say it's haunted, she teased, smirking at me in the mirror. I laughed it off, but something about her tone stuck with me. Maybe it was the way the sunlight dipped behind the trees, turning everything gold and weird. The drive took us deep into El Dorado, past signs warning about bears and faded trails. We finally pulled off onto this bumpy dirt road, tires crunching over rocks. I could feel the excitement buzzing. For friends, a weekend ahead, no cell service to bug us. Tara was already sketching the scenery in her notebook, muttering about capturing the vibe. Marcus cracked a beer, offering me one, and I took it just to shut him up. Ellie parked us near a clearing, maybe a quarter mile from the tower. It loomed up ahead, this rusted skeleton against the sky, all jagged and wrong. Setting up camp was chaos. I'm useless with tents, always have been, so Tara took charge while I fumbled with stakes. Marcus kept sneaking sips from his stash, and Ellie wandered off to scout the tower, yelling back that it was so cool up close. By dusk, we had a fire going, the crackle mixing with the smell of pine and smoke. I sprawled out on a log, sipping bourbon, watching the flames dance. It felt good, you know, like we'd escaped the world for a bit. That first night, we swapped stories, dumb stuff from college, like the time Marcus streaked across the quad on a dare. Tara's laugh echoed through the trees, sharp and bright. Ellie got quiet, though, staring at the tower's silhouette. "You ever wonder why they left it?" she asked, almost to herself. I shrugged, said something about budget cuts, but her eyes didn't move. It was weird, but I brushed it off. Figured she was just tired. The fire died down, and we crawled into our tents. I shared mine with Marcus, who was already snoring like a chainsaw. I lay there, staring at the nylon ceiling, the bourbon warm in my chest. It was peaceful, too peaceful maybe. I kept thinking about that tower, how it just sat there, watching us. I didn't know it yet, but that was the last time I'd feel anything close to calm. I drifted off eventually, the forest humming around us. Whatever was coming, it was still out there, waiting. And man, we had no clue. The air was crisp, the kind that stings your lungs a little, and the sun was barely peeking through the pines in El Dorado National Forest. I crawled out of the tent, my back aching from the ground, and saw Tara already up, sketching the tower again. She's got this intensity when she draws, like she's pulling something out of the paper instead of putting it in. Ellie was fussing with the fire, trying to get it going with damp wood. "Sacramento rain screwed us," she grumbled, tossing a soggy stick aside. I offered to help, but she waved me off. Typical Ellie, always gotta do it herself. Marcus finally stumbled out, hungover and whining about his head. I tossed him a water bottle and told him to suck it up. We were a mess, but it was our mess, you know? Still felt like old times, just with more dirt and fewer textbooks. Breakfast was a disaster. I'd packed some eggs, thinking I'd impress everyone with my outdoor chef skills. Big mistake. The pan I brought was warped, and half the eggs ended up in the dirt. Tara laughed so hard she nearly fell off her log, and Marcus just smirked, cracking another beer. "Breakfast of champions," he said, toasting me. Ellie rolled her eyes but dug into the salvageable bits. It was dumb, but it loosened us up until we started talking plans. Ellie wanted to hike to the tower. "It's like 5 minutes away," she said, pointing at its rusted frame poking through the trees. I wasn't sold. Something about it felt off, like it was daring us to come closer. Tara was all for it, though, saying it'd be disturbing in a good way for her sketches. Marcus didn't care either way, as long as he could bring his cooler. I caved, mostly because I didn't want to be the buzzkill. So we packed some gear, my knife, Ellie's map, Tara's art stuff, and headed out. The walk was easy at first, just crunching through pine needles and dodging roots. But the closer we got, the weirder it felt. The air got heavy, like it was pressing down on us. I chalked it up to the altitude. Reno's high up, but this was different. Ellie kept chattering about the tower's history, how the fire that wrecked it killed a ranger or something. They never rebuilt it, she said, her voice dropping. Just left it to rot. I nodded, but my gut was twisting. Nothing scary yet, just off. We reached the base, and man, that thing was a wreck. The metal stairs spiraled up into nowhere, half collapsed, with vines choking the frame. Tara started sketching like a fiend, muttering about textures of decay. Marcus leaned against a tree, sipping his IPA, while I poked around the bottom. That's when I saw it. Scratches on the steel, deep ones, like something big had clawed at it. "Probably a bear," I said out loud, trying to sound chill. Ellie frowned, though. "Bears don't climb towers," she muttered. I brushed it off, but then Marcus piped up. "Yo, check this out." He'd found a pile of bones near the edge of the clearing. Small ones, maybe a rabbit or something. They were cracked open, marrow sucked dry. Coyotes, I guessed, but it didn't sit right. Ellie knelt by them, her face tight. "Maybe," she said, but she didn't sound convinced. Tara stopped drawing, staring at the bones like they were a puzzle she couldn't solve. The vibe shifted, nothing horror movie dramatic, just this slow, creepy itch. We decided to climb a little, test the stairs. Big dumb idea, right? The metal groaned under us, rust flaking off like dead skin. I went first, 'cause I'm an idiot who can't say no. Halfway up, maybe 20 feet, I looked down and saw Ellie freeze. "You hear that?" she whispered. I didn't, just wind and creaking, but her eyes were wide. Tara laughed it off, said she was spooking herself, but I saw Marcus grip his beer a little tighter. I kept climbing, pretending I wasn't freaked. At the top, the view was killer, miles of forest stretching out, Sacramento somewhere beyond. But that heavy feeling? It was worse up here. I glanced back at the scratches, the bones, Ellie's weird vibe. Something was wrong, and I couldn't shake it. We weren't alone out here. I didn't know how I knew, but I did. I was trying to play it cool, sipping my bourbon like it had fixed the unease, when Tara stopped sketching mid-stroke. "What the hell is that?" she said, pointing down into the trees. I squinted, expecting a deer or something boring, but it wasn't. There was this shape, way off in the brush near our camp. Too tall for an animal, too still for a person. It wasn't moving, just standing there, blurred by the pines. My stomach did a flip. "Probably a hiker," I said, but my voice sounded thin, like I didn't believe it myself. Ellie whipped out her binoculars, girls always prepared, and her face went pale. "That's no hiker," she whispered. Marcus laughed, nervous and loud. "What? You think it's Bigfoot?" But he shut up when Ellie handed him the binoculars. He stared for a sec, then muttered, "Shit." I grabbed them next, and yeah, it was disturbing as hell. Whatever it wasn't right. Too thin, arms too long, head tilted like it was listening. It didn't move, but I swear it knew we were watching. My hands shook as I passed the binoculars to Tara. She didn't say anything, just kept staring. We argued about it. 'Cause what else do you do when something's scary staring back at you? I said we should head down, check it out, play it safe. Ellie shook her head hard. "No way. That's not normal." Tara backed her up, saying it felt like a trap. Marcus, half drunk, shrugged, and said we could take it, dumbass bravado kicking in. Me? I didn't know what to think, but my gut was screaming to get off that tower. The stairs creaked under us as we started down, every step feeling like a gamble. Back at the base, the vibe was trashed. The bones we'd found earlier? They weren't alone anymore. There were fresh ones, still wet, scattered near the tower's legs. This wasn't here an hour ago, Ellie said, her voice tight. I nodded, trying to keep it together, but my brain was spinning. Something had been here while we were up there. Tara kicked at the pile, and a rib bone rolled out, human-sized. Oh, hell no, she said, stepping back fast. That's when the smell hit, like rot and wet metal, sharp enough to gag on. Marcus gagged for real, bending over like he'd puke up his IPA. I scanned the trees, and there it was again. That shape, closer now, maybe 50 yards off. It didn't move, but it was clearer, grayish skin, no face I could make out. Just this void where one should have been. My heart slammed so hard I thought it'd bust out. We need to go, I said, but my feet wouldn't budge. Ellie grabbed my arm, yanking me toward camp. Now, Lucas. We bolted, tripping over roots and rocks, the tower looming behind us like it was laughing. The whole way, I kept glancing back. That thing didn't follow, but it didn't leave either. It just watched. At camp, we threw stuff into bags, panic making us clumsy. Tara dropped her sketchbook, pages flapping open to that damn tower, and I saw she'd drawn something in the shadows, something that looked way too much like what we'd just seen. We huddled by the fire pit, trying to figure out what was happening. Ellie said it could be a prank, some Sacramento weirdo messing with campers. I wanted to believe her, but those bones, that smell, it was too real, too horror movie messed up. Marcus suggested we drive out, but Ellie's Jeep keys were gone, lost somewhere between the tower and here. Great, I muttered, kicking a log. We're screwed. Then the screaming started. Not us, something else. It came from the trees, high and ragged, like a person but not. It echoed off the tower, bouncing around until I couldn't tell where it was coming from. We froze, staring at each other, waiting for it to stop. It didn't. Whatever was out there, it was pissed, and it was close. That scream, man, it was like nails on a chalkboard, but worse, 'cause it wasn't stopping. It ripped through the trees, bouncing off that damn Sacramento lookout tower, and we were just standing there, bags half-packed, Ellie's Jeep keys missing, and this horror show closing in. My hands were sweaty, my knife useless in my pocket, and I could see Tara's eyes darting like a trapped animal. We gotta move, I said, voice shaking. Ellie nodded, but Marcus, God love him, was still clutching his beer like it'd save him. Move where? We've got no wheels, he snapped. Tara cut in. Anywhere but here, idiot. She was right. That thing, whatever it was, wasn't just watching anymore. The air felt thick, like it was pressing us down, and that smell, that rot metal stink, was stronger. I grabbed my backpack, slung it over my shoulder, and started walking. Didn't even care where, just away. We stumbled through the brush, branches snagging at us, the screaming fading then spiking again, closer every time. Ellie took the lead. She's from Sacramento, knows these woods, but her map was back at camp, and I could tell she was guessing. There's a ranger station, maybe 5 miles west, she panted. 5 miles? With that thing out there? I didn't say it, but I was thinking we were toast. Tara tripped, scraping her knee bloody, and I hauled her up, her sketchbook tumbling into the dirt. She didn't even try to grab it. The forest was a maze, pines so tight you couldn't see 10 feet ahead. My legs burned, and Marcus was wheezing behind me, his cooler long gone. Then we hit a clearing, and I thought, maybe we've got a shot, until I saw it. That thing was there, 30 yards off, standing between us and the trail. Up close, it was worse, tall, bony, with arms that dangled like they didn't belong. No face, just this smooth, gray nothing. My chest locked up, it was scary as hell, and it was moving now, slow and jerky, right at us. Run, Ellie yelled, veering left. We bolted, crashing through undergrowth, thorns tearing at my jeans. I heard Tara sob, Marcus curse, but I didn't look back, couldn't. The ground dipped, and we slid down a ravine, rocks bruising my shins. At the bottom, a creek cut through, cold water soaking my boots as I waded across. I glanced up, that thing was at the edge, staring down. It didn't jump, just tilted its head, and I swear it was toying with us. We kept going, lungs screaming, until Ellie stopped short. Bridge, she gasped, pointing ahead. It was old, wooden, spanning a wider part of the creek. Our ticket out, maybe. But as we ran for it, the boards creaked, some splintering under Marcus's weight. Careful, I shouted, but he was already across, waving us on. Tara went next, then me, and I felt the whole thing sway. Old as hell, probably hadn't been touched since the tower burned. Ellie was last, and halfway over, a plank snapped. She caught herself, but her leg dangled, and she yelped. I turned back, grabbed her arm, and yanked her up, my heart pounding so hard I thought it'd explode. We made it, collapsing on the other side, but that scream hit again, closer, angrier. I looked across the creek, and there it was, pacing the bank like a dog that lost its bone. It didn't cross, maybe it couldn't, but it wasn't giving up. What is that thing? Marcus wheezed, and I just shook my head. No clue, but it was disturbing, and it wanted us bad. We staggered on, the bridge behind us, forest swallowing us again. Ellie said the ranger station was still miles off, but we had no choice. Keep moving or die. My knife felt like a joke now. If that thing caught us, we were done. Tara was limping, Marcus was a mess, and Ellie's eyes were wild. I kept checking over my shoulder, expecting it to be right there, but it wasn't yet. The sun was dipping, shadows stretching out, and every snap in the woods made me jump. We were alive, barely, but that thing? It wasn't finished with us. I could feel it. We'd crossed that rickety bridge, left that faceless freak behind, and were hauling ass towards some ranger station Ellie swore was close. The sun was gone, just a faint orange smear over Sacramento's horizon, and the cold was sinking into my bones. My boots squished with creek water, and every step felt like a gamble. Keep going or collapse. Tara was fading fast, her knee swollen from that fall. I looped her arm over my shoulder, half dragging her while she gritted her teeth. I'm fine, she lied, but her face was all pain. Marcus was no better, pale, wheezing, muttering about how he should have stayed in Fresno. Ellie kept us moving, her voice sharp, like she could will us to safety. It's not far, she kept saying, but the trees all looked the same, and I wasn't sure she knew anymore. We hit a dirt path. Finally, something man-made, and I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe we'd find a ranger, a phone, anything. But then Marcus stopped, hands on his knees. I can't, man, he gasped. I told him to suck it up. We were so close, but he shook his head. Just give me a sec. Big mistake. I should have dragged him, but I didn't. Ellie scouted ahead, yelling back that she saw lights, maybe a mile off. That's when it went to hell. The scream ripped through again, so close it vibrated in my chest. I spun around, and there it was, right behind Marcus. It had followed us, silent until now, and it was fast. He didn't even get a word out, just a choked yell as it grabbed him, those long arms wrapping around like vines. I lunged, knife out, but it was like stabbing air. The blade hit something solid, then nothing. Marcus thrashed, eyes huge, and then he was gone, yanked into the dark so quick I couldn't process it. Tara screamed, a raw, horror-filled sound, and I shoved her forward. Go, go. Ellie ran back, face white, and we bolted down the path, leaving Marcus behind. I kept seeing it in my head, his hands clawing at nothing, that thing's blank face. My legs burned, but I didn't stop, couldn't. The lights Ellie saw got brighter, a ranger station, for real this time. It was old, boarded up, but there was a busted truck out front. Hope, maybe. We hit the door, pounding, yelling, but no one answered. Abandoned, just like the tower. Ellie kicked it open, and we piled in, slamming it shut. The place was a mess, dusty maps, a dead radio, a rusted axe in the corner. I grabbed the axe, hands shaking, while Tara sank to the floor, sobbing. He's gone, she kept saying, and I couldn't argue. That thing had taken him, and we'd left him, my fault for not pushing harder. I peeked through a cracked window, and there it was, outside, pacing slow, like it knew we were trapped. It didn't rush, just watched, and that was worse. Ellie found a trapdoor under a rug, some storage crawl space. We hide, she whispered, but I wasn't sure it'd matter. We climbed down, squeezing into this damp, coffin-tight hole, the axe clutched to my chest. The air was thick, suffocating, and Tara's breathing was ragged beside me. Minutes dragged, maybe hours, and then we heard it. Heavy steps above, creaking the floorboards. It was in the station, sniffing us out. I held my breath, waiting for it to rip through the trapdoor, but it didn't. The steps stopped, and silence hit, heavy and scary. We stayed down there till dawn, too terrified to move, listening for anything. When we finally crawled out, the truck's hood was clawed to shreds, but that thing was gone, or so we thought. I don't know what it was, but it took Marcus, and it broke us. We limped back to Sacramento, hitched a ride from some logger who didn't ask questions. Tara hasn't spoken since. Ellie blames herself for the trip, and me? I can't sleep without seeing that blank face. We escaped, yeah, but it's still out there, and I'm not sure we really got away. I'm Mark Anthony, 42 years old, and I live in Los Angeles, a city far from the eerie vibe of Sacramento. A few months back, my partner, Laura Elizabeth, 38 years old, and I decided to break our routine and go camping at the infamous abandoned Lookout Tower. It all started as a spontaneous idea, a mix of boredom and the craving for something different, even if it meant diving into a situation that was as horror-filled as it was intriguing. I've always been drawn to the disturbing allure of abandoned places, and this adventure was about to become one of the scariest experiences of my life. The plan was simple, or so we thought: a weekend of escaping the humdrum city life and immersing ourselves in nature's raw beauty. However, as soon as we arrived in Sacramento, a feeling of unease began to creep in. The town's quiet streets and odd glances from passers-by made me wonder if we were stepping into a scene from a horror movie. There was an energy in the air, subtle yet disturbing, that hinted at secrets and stories untold. I couldn't shake off the thought that we were not alone, even though we were just there to camp. Laura, with her curious nature and adventurous spirit, was the one who pushed for this camping trip. "We need to feel alive, Mark," she had said, her eyes gleaming with a mix of excitement and determination. I knew she was right. Life sometimes demands risks, even if they're laced with danger. As we loaded our gear into the car, I couldn't help but recall the disturbing legends about the Lookout Tower, a place rumored to be haunted by mysterious figures. The idea of sleeping under the stars near that ominous structure both thrilled and terrified me. Our journey took us through winding roads and quiet neighborhoods until we reached the outskirts of Sacramento, where the abandoned tower loomed in the distance. The sight of it was both fascinating and creepy, a relic from a past era that had long been forgotten by time. I remember feeling a mix of dread and excitement, like stepping into a real-life horror story. The tower's crumbling walls and broken windows told a story of decay and abandonment that seemed to echo with the past, making the whole experience incredibly scary. As we set up camp near the tower, the rustling leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures added an unsettling soundtrack to our evening. I was busy unpacking the tent while Laura scouted the area, her curiosity leading her closer to the tower. That's when we first encountered the park ranger, a quiet and enigmatic figure who appeared as if he'd materialized out of nowhere. He introduced himself simply as Ranger Jim, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the disturbing aura of the surroundings. His presence, though reassuring to some extent, also hinted at secrets buried within the tower. Ranger Jim had an almost mystical way of speaking, blending local lore with a down-to-earth charm. He told us in a soft, conversational tone that the tower wasn't just an abandoned relic. It was a witness to many tragic events that had occurred over the years. As he recounted chilling tales of lost souls and unexplained occurrences, I could feel a chill run down my spine. His words were not just stories. They carried the weight of experiences that were both horror-filled and disturbingly real, making the night ahead seem even more unpredictable. Later that night, as we sat around a small campfire trying to shake off the unsettling atmosphere, I couldn't help but share my doubts with Laura. "Do you ever wonder if we're about to get entangled in something far scarier than we bargained for?" I asked, half joking yet genuinely anxious. Laura's laugh was soft but laced with apprehension as she replied, "You know, sometimes the scariest parts of life are the ones we willingly step into." The irony of our conversation wasn't lost on me. It was as if the night itself was daring us to venture deeper into the mystery of the tower. That night, sleep was elusive. Every creak of the old wood, Every whisper of wind seemed to echo the horror stories we'd heard from Ranger Jim. I lay in the tent, trying to dismiss the disturbing sounds that melded with my racing thoughts. At one point, I even thought I saw a shadow flicker near the edge of the camp, a fleeting glimpse that sent a surge of adrenaline through my veins. The experience felt like a twisted blend of a real-life nightmare and a scary urban legend, making me question if our decision to camp here was a brilliant adventure or a fatal mistake in disguise. With the night stretching on and the feeling of impending danger growing, I realized that this wasn't just another camping trip. It was a descent into a world of horror and mystery that I never expected to experience. As the tower stood silently in the backdrop and the fire's glow battled the darkness, I felt an eerie connection with the place, as if it held secrets meant only for us to uncover. Even as I drifted into an uneasy sleep, I couldn't shake the sensation that the disturbing events were just beginning to unfold, leaving me to wonder what terrifying chapters lay ahead. The first real sign that something was off came in the morning. Laura and I woke up feeling strange, not just groggy from a rough night's sleep, but like we had barely slept at all. My body ached in ways it shouldn't, as if I had been walking or climbing in my sleep. Laura looked pale, dark circles under her eyes. "I had the weirdest dreams," she murmured, rubbing her temples. "But I can't remember any of it." I tried to shake off the uneasy feeling, but something about the way the wind howled through the abandoned lookout tower made it impossible to ignore the disturbing atmosphere around us. Breakfast was quiet, the usual morning conversation replaced by an unspoken heaviness. Even the birds seemed hesitant to sing, as if they too felt the presence of something unseen. Then we noticed it. Our camping gear wasn't where we left it. The cooler had been dragged a few feet away, the tent flap was open, and Laura's backpack was completely unzipped. "Did you do this?" she asked, her voice a mix of confusion and concern. "No," I replied quickly, scanning the area. Maybe an animal? But even as I said it, I knew it didn't make sense. No scratch marks, no torn food packaging, just a silent, methodical disturbance that sent a shiver down my spine. I decided to check around the tower, looking for any signs of visitors. The grass was damp, the earth soft enough to capture footprints, and yet I found none. No animal tracks, no human prints, nothing that explained the eerie shift in our belongings. That's when Laura called out, her voice sharp with fear. I ran back to camp to find her holding a small, old notebook. "Where did you find that?" I asked. She pointed to a spot near the fire pit. It was just here, like someone left it for us to find. The pages were yellowed with age, the leather cover cracked and worn. I opened it, flipping through pages filled with scribbled notes. Entries dated back to the 1980s, written by a former park ranger. "You think this belonged to Ranger Jim?" Laura asked, peering over my shoulder. I frowned. The handwriting was erratic, the words rushed. "Don't stay after dark. They come when the tower calls them. If you hear your name, don't answer." My stomach clenched as I read the words aloud. It was unsettling, horror movie-level creepy, but a part of me wanted to believe it was just some elaborate prank left behind by a past visitor. And yet, something about it felt real. Like a warning we were too late to heed. "We should probably go," Laura suggested, her voice quieter now. "Just pack up and leave before we start regretting this." But leaving wasn't that simple. When we checked our phones, neither of us had a signal. Not surprising, given how deep into the forest we were, but it only added to the growing fear curling in my gut. I tried to sound confident, brushing it off as bad luck. "We'll hike back in a few hours if it doesn't clear up," I told Laura. "Let's just explore a little first." She hesitated, then nodded. She was uneasy, but she trusted me. Maybe a little too much. If I had listened to her instincts then, maybe things wouldn't have gone so horribly wrong. As we wandered closer to the tower, the air grew colder, the kind of chill that shouldn't exist under the morning sun. The place was massive up close, its once white walls now stained with time and neglect. The entrance was slightly ajar, as if it had been waiting for us. "You want to go in?" I asked, half joking. Laura crossed her arms, giving me a look. "You want to die?" I laughed, but it felt forced. Still, curiosity got the best of me. I pushed the door open just enough to peek inside, my breath catching at the sight. The interior was a time capsule, dust-covered desks, old ranger maps pinned to the walls, and a chair that looked like someone had just stood up from it. And then we heard it. A shuffle from above. A slow, deliberate movement. Laura grabbed my arm, her fingers ice cold. "Tell me that was the wind," she whispered. I wanted to, I really did. But there was no breeze, no way the air could make something move like that. I took a step back, heart pounding. The sound came again, a dragging noise, like something heavy being pulled across the floor upstairs. We bolted, practically tripping over ourselves as we ran back to camp. "Okay, screw exploring," I gasped, trying to catch my breath. "We're getting out of here." We packed up in record time, shoving everything haphazardly into our bags. But just as we were about to head down the trail, we saw him. Ranger Jim, standing a few yards away, watching us. I waved, relieved. "Hey, we were just about to. You shouldn't be here," he interrupted, his voice eerily calm. "Not today." My stomach twisted at his tone. "Why? What's today?" His eyes flickered toward the tower, then back to us. "Just leave." There was something final about the way he said it, like a warning we really shouldn't ignore. We didn't need to be told twice. We started down the trail, moving fast, ready to leave this horror behind. But after a few minutes, Laura grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Mark," she whispered, eyes wide with terror. "Where's the trail?" I looked ahead, and my blood ran cold. The path we had followed to get here was gone. Just trees, stretching endlessly in every direction, as if the forest itself had changed while we weren't looking. I don't know how long we stood there, staring at the endless trees where the trail should have been. My brain refused to process it. This wasn't possible. We had just come from this direction. I turned in circles, my pulse hammering, expecting to see the worn dirt path reappear as if this was some kind of optical illusion. But no, just trees. Thick, endless trees that felt wrong. "Mark," Laura's voice was barely above a whisper. "What the hell is happening?" I didn't have an answer. The realization that we were lost, that something had changed, settled deep in my gut like a cold, disturbing weight. "Maybe we got turned around," I said, even though I knew that wasn't true. Laura shook her head violently. "No, Mark, we didn't. The trail was here. Right here." She pointed at the ground beneath our feet, her fingers trembling. And she was right. There were no footprints, no signs of where we had walked just minutes ago. It was as if the forest had swallowed the path whole. My mouth went dry. This wasn't normal. This wasn't nature being unpredictable. This was something else. Something terrifying. "We need to go back to the campsite," Laura said firmly, already turning around. Maybe we just need to retrace our steps." I followed, my heart slamming against my ribs. But as we walked, an even more disturbing realization hit me. The campsite was gone. The tent, the fire pit, our bags, everything. It was like we had never been there. Laura made a strangled noise, spinning in frantic circles. No. We just left it. How is this happening?" Panic clawed up my throat, but I swallowed it down. I needed to think. I needed to act. "Stay calm," I muttered, though I wasn't sure if I was talking to her or myself. A sound echoed through the trees. A low hum. At first, I thought it was the wind, but then it grew louder, deeper, almost mechanical, like a distant engine revving. Laura and I locked eyes, frozen in place. The hum vibrated in my chest, rattling my bones. It was coming from the tower, the abandoned lookout tower that we had just run from, the one that should have been silent and empty. But now it was humming, alive. The sound sent a wave of nausea through me, and for a split second, I felt disoriented, like I was being pulled toward it. Laura grabbed my hand, her grip desperate. "We can't go back there." Her voice shook, and I knew she felt it too. The unnatural pull, the terrifying invitation. I forced myself to step away, to shake off the dizziness. "Then we go the opposite direction. Keep moving until we hit a road or find a signal." Laura nodded, and we started walking, our pace quick and frantic. But no matter how far we went, the humming stayed with us, growing fainter, then louder again, as if it was following us. I don't know when I realized it, but a horrifying truth settled into my mind. The forest wasn't letting us leave. Every turn led us back to where we started. Every attempt to push forward only deepened the feeling of being trapped. The trees loomed taller, the shadows stretched longer, and the air grew thick, heavy, suffocating. My head pounded, and my limbs felt sluggish, as if the very atmosphere was working against us. I stole a glance at Laura. Her breathing was shallow, her face pale. "We need to stop," I gasped, leaning against a tree. "We need to think." But stopping felt dangerous. It felt like giving in. Then, a voice whispered through the trees. "Mark." My stomach dropped. It was distant, almost carried by the wind, but it was unmistakable. Someone had just said my name. Laura's eyes snapped to mine, her face going even paler. "Tell me you heard that," she whispered. I opened my mouth, but before I could answer, "Mark." Closer this time. Too close. And the worst part? The voice sounded like me. I grabbed Laura's arm, yanking her forward. "Run." We bolted, our legs screaming in protest as we sprinted through the endless forest. The voice kept calling my name, getting closer, warping, sometimes sounding like me, sometimes like Laura, sometimes like something else entirely. The humming grew louder, rising into a disturbing, grinding wail that made my ears ring. I didn't know where we were running to, but I knew what we were running from. Then, up ahead, a cabin. A small, run-down cabin that hadn't been there before. But at that moment, it was the only option we had. We threw ourselves inside, slamming the door shut. The silence was deafening. My breath came in ragged gasps as I braced against the wall. Laura was shaking, her arms wrapped around herself. "Mark," she whispered, her voice raw. "I think we're in serious trouble." I didn't argue. I didn't try to rationalize. I just looked at her, heart pounding, and nodded. Because I knew. Whatever was in these woods, whatever had erased our path, called my name, and lured us toward that damn tower, wasn't done with us yet. The silence inside the cabin was almost worse than the noise outside. It was the kind of quiet that pressed in on you, thick and unnatural. My breath sounded too loud in my ears, every heartbeat echoing in my skull. Laura gripped my wrist, her fingers ice cold. "We can't stay here," she whispered. I knew she was right. Whatever was out there, whatever had stolen the trail, called my name, and warped reality around us, wasn't going to let us hide forever. But the moment we left this cabin, we'd be back out in its territory. And I wasn't sure which was worse. I scanned the room, trying to find anything useful. The place was abandoned, but not untouched. The wooden floor was covered in dusty boot prints, too many to count, some fresh, some faded. A single wooden chair sat in the middle of the room, facing the doorway, like someone had been waiting for us. And on the table, right next to an old lantern, lay a map. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. It was old, the edges curled with age, but what chilled me was the red ink scrawled over it. A circle was drawn around the lookout tower, and underneath, 3 words, "Don't go back." Laura peeked over my shoulder, reading it. She let out a nervous laugh, one of those I'm trying not to lose my mind laughs. "So we're not the first ones to get stuck here," she muttered. I turned the map, following the lines of trails and roads, but something was wrong. The paths didn't match what I remembered. Places we had passed weren't on here. And worse, some trails led into nothing, just empty white space. Like the forest was unfinished. Or changing. My stomach twisted. "I don't think this is a map," I murmured. "I think it's a warning." Then we heard it again. My name. Except this time, it wasn't outside. It was inside the cabin. My breath caught in my throat. The voice was soft, almost gentle, coming from the darkest corner of the room. Slowly we turned. There was nothing there. Just shadows stretching too far, crawling up the walls like living things. Laura's grip on my arm tightened. "Mark," she whispered. "We need to go. Now." I didn't argue. I grabbed the lantern, stuffed the map into my pocket, and yanked the door open. The forest had changed again. The trees were closer now, the branches tangled together like fingers reaching for us. The air was thick with mist, curling around our legs, making it hard to see. And somewhere, hidden within the fog, something breathed. A slow, rattling inhale, followed by a wet, shuddering exhale. Laura and I moved quickly, half running, half stumbling through the uneven ground. My pulse hammered in my ears. The deeper we went, the more it felt like the forest was folding in around us, the trees shifting when we weren't looking. Then, footsteps. Not ours. Something was following us. The soft crunch of leaves, the snap of a twig. Laura grabbed my hand, pulling me faster. "Don't look back," she gasped. But of course I did. And I wish I hadn't. Because standing between the trees, half hidden in the fog, was me. Or something that looked like me. Its head tilted, its face slack and wrong, like a bad copy. Its lips parted, and in my own voice, It whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I yanked Laura to the side, forcing us off the invisible path we had been following. We crashed through the undergrowth, pushing forward blindly, until suddenly, the trees opened up. A road. A real, paved road. My chest nearly collapsed in relief. We made it. Laura gasped, tears streaking her face. But before we could celebrate, a figure stepped onto the pavement ahead. Ranger Jim. His face was unreadable, his posture stiff. I skidded to a stop, nearly falling over. "You need to leave," he said, his voice eerily calm. "Now." "We're trying," Laura snapped. "But this place, it won't let us go." Jim's expression didn't change. He raised a hand and pointed down the road. "Keep walking. Don't stop. Don't turn around." My stomach twisted. "What if, don't turn around?" His voice was sharper this time, almost desperate. My hands trembled, but I nodded. He took a step back, his eyes flickering to something behind us. Laura grabbed my arm, and without another word, we started down the road, walking fast, then faster, then nearly running. The hum was still there, fading but present. The trees rustled, though there was no wind. But we didn't stop, didn't turn around. We just walked, step after step, until finally, we saw headlights. A car. Real, solid, cutting through the mist. I almost collapsed in relief. The driver pulled over, rolling down the window. "You two okay?" I turned to answer, and behind me, just at the tree line, I saw myself. Watching, smiling. And then, just as quickly, it was gone. The driver was a middle-aged guy, probably in his 50s, with tired eyes and a concerned frown. "You two look like hell," he muttered, unlocking the door. "Get in." I didn't need to be told twice. Laura and I practically threw ourselves into the back seat, the warmth of the car hitting us like a lifeline. As soon as the doors shut, I realized how bad we must have looked. Mud-streaked, scratched up, eyes wide with exhaustion and fear. "Where'd you two come from?" the driver asked as he pulled onto the road. Laura and I exchanged a glance. How the hell were we supposed to explain any of this? "Camping," I finally muttered. It felt like a joke saying it out loud. The driver let out a low whistle. "Up near the old lookout tower." My stomach clenched. "Yeah," Laura said hesitantly. The guy shook his head. "You're lucky to be alive." His tone was too serious, too knowing. I leaned forward. "What do you mean?" He kept his eyes on the road. "People go missing up there. Always have. Rangers don't talk about it much, but, well, you made it out. That's what matters." My throat felt tight. I wanted to tell him that we hadn't made it out. Not really. The drive back to civilization was a blur. I don't remember the details, just the overwhelming relief of seeing buildings again, of stepping into the harsh fluorescent lighting of a gas station. The driver let us out there, refusing any payment. "Just go home," he said. "Forget that place." "But how the hell do you forget something like that?" I looked at Laura. Her face was pale, her hands shaking as she gripped a bottle of water. Neither of us spoke. We didn't have to. We had survived, but something felt wrong. We got a motel for the night. Neither of us wanted to be alone. The moment the door shut behind us, Laura turned to me. "Did we actually escape?" The question sent ice down my spine. "What do you mean?" She swallowed hard. "The thing that looked like you. What if it got out instead?" I let out a shaky laugh, but there was no humor in it. "That's insane." But even as I said it, doubt crept in. I thought about the smiling figure at the tree line, the way it had watched us leave, the way it had disappeared the second we stepped onto the road. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the hum, felt the weight of the forest still pressing in on me. I kept dreaming that I was still there, walking in circles, trying to find a way out. At some point, I must have dozed off, because I woke up to Laura shaking me, her face twisted in panic. "Mark," she whispered, "look at the mirror." I turned, and my blood went cold. There were two of me, one in the bed and one in the reflection. My reflection didn't move, didn't blink. It just stared. I scrambled back, nearly falling off the bed. Laura grabbed my arm, her breathing ragged. "It followed us," she choked out. "It's still here." My mind raced, my thoughts a tangled mess of fear and disbelief. Then, the mirror me smiled. Just slightly, just enough to send every nerve in my body screaming. I lunged for the motel lamp, throwing it against the mirror. Glass shattered, spraying across the floor. And in that instant, the reflection was gone. The next morning, Laura refused to talk about it. We packed our bags in silence. left the motel without breakfast, and started the long drive home. But something was different. I kept catching glimpses of movement in the rearview mirror, kept feeling eyes on me when no one was there. Laura seemed distant, her hands gripping the wheel too tight. Every time I asked if she was okay, she just nodded, but she never met my gaze. We both knew the truth. We had escaped the forest, but we hadn't come back alone. Weeks passed. We tried to pretend it was over, that we were fine, but little things started happening. My reflection lingered too long in the mirror. Laura woke up crying some nights, refusing to tell me why. Then, one evening, I came home and found her sitting in the dark, staring at nothing. I touched her shoulder, and she flinched. "Laura," I whispered. Slowly, she turned to look at me, and for just a second, just long enough for my stomach to drop. I swear to God her eyes weren't hers. I don't know if we ever really left that place. Maybe part of us is still there, wandering those endless woods. Or maybe it let us go just long enough to forget, just long enough to feel safe. But I know one thing for certain. Every now and then, late at night, I still hear my name whispered in a voice that sounds just like mine. I'm Riley Mae Donovan, 31 years old, and I call Portland, Oregon, home. You know, the land of rain, coffee, and way too many bridges. I'm a graphic designer by trade, freelancing for indie bands mostly, but I've got this itch for the outdoors that pulls me away from my desk every chance I get. That's how I ended up planning a camping trip with my buddy Sam. This lanky goofball I met at a Portland art crawl years back. He's from Eugene, always rocking flannel like it's a uniform, and he's got a knack for finding weird spots to explore. This time, we set our sights on Sacramento. Well, near it, anyway. Sam had this wild idea to camp out in the Tahoe National Forest, about an hour north of the city. He'd heard about an old lookout tower up there, one that park rangers used back in the day before they ditched it for newer setups. It's got history. He said over beers one night, his eyes lighting up. Plus, it's off the grid, no tourists, just us and the woods. I was in, needed a break from screens and deadlines, and a creepy tower sounded like a fun twist. I packed light, but smart. A sleeping bag, my sketch pad, 'cause I can't resist doodling, and a beat-up thermos I've had since college. Sam showed up at my place with his ancient Toyota truck, loaded with gear and a cooler of cheap cider. We hit the road, Portland's drizzle fading into California's golden sprawl. The drive was chill, 6 hours of bad playlists and Sam's terrible jokes. By the time we rolled into Sacramento to grab snacks, I was already buzzing for the forest. We veered north, pavement turning to gravel as Tahoe National Forest swallowed us up. The pines were thick, the air sharp with sap, and I could feel that city stress peeling off me. Sam navigated us to this dirt pull-off he'd marked on his phone, swearing it was close to the tower. "Rangers don't even patrol it anymore," he said, grinning like a kid with a secret. I laughed, figuring he'd oversold it, but I was game either way. Dusk was creeping in when we parked, the sky all purple and bruised. The tower poked up through the trees, maybe a half-mile off, this spindly relic with a busted roof. We hauled our stuff to a clearing nearby, me lugging the tent, Sam juggling his cooler like it was precious cargo. Setting up was a mess. I'm no pro, and Sam kept getting distracted, pointing out constellations he half made up. "That's the Big Dipper's weird cousin," he said, and I snorted, hammering a stake crooked. Fire going, we cracked open the cider, the crackle of flames mixing with the forest hum. I sketched the tower's silhouette, something about its lean fell off, like it was slouching. Sam rambled about how rangers used to live up there, spotting fires, living off canned beans. "Bet it's haunted," he teased, waggling his eyebrows. I rolled my eyes but grinned. Ghost stories are half the fun, right? We ate some jerky and chips, the fire throwing shadows that danced too wild for my liking. Sam sprawled out, cider in hand, while I poked at the coals with a stick. It was perfect, quiet, remote, just us in the woods. I didn't say it, but I was glad he dragged me here. Portland felt a million miles away, and for once, that was fine by me. The tower loomed in the dark, a black spike against the stars. I kept glancing at it, couldn't help it. Something about it pulled at me. Sam noticed, chucked a pinecone my way. "Stop obsessing, Riley. It's just old junk." I laughed it off, but I wasn't so sure. The night stretched on, and I didn't know it yet. but we just stepped into something way bigger than a camping trip. I crashed in my sleeping bag, Sam's snores rattling the tent. The forest was alive out there, wind, bugs, the usual. But as I drifted off, I couldn't shake the feeling that the tower was watching us back. Morning crept in slow, the kind of gray that makes you want to stay buried in your sleeping bag forever. I woke up stiff, tent fabric sagging above me, and Sam's elbow jabbing my ribs. Typical. I unzipped the flap and stumbled out into Tahoe National Forest, the air biting my face. The fire was dead, just ash now, and that lookout tower stood there in the distance, all rusted and smug. I rubbed my eyes, trying to shake the grogginess. Portland's coffee scene spoiled me, and all I had here was instant crap in my thermos. Sam crawled out after me, hair a mess, muttering about how he'd slept on a rock. "Good morning to you too," I said, smirking as I handed him the thermos. He grunted, took a swig, and immediately spat it out. "This is dirt water, Riley." I laughed. Serves him right for not packing his own. We rummaged through the cooler, pulling out some stale bagels. Breakfast wasn't winning any awards, but it'd keep us going. The plan was simple. Hike to the tower, poke around, maybe climb it if it didn't look like a death trap. Sam was all hyped, saying we could see Sacramento from the top on a clear day. I wasn't so sure. Those clouds were rolling in thick, but I didn't argue. We packed light, my sketch pad, his binoculars, a couple water bottles. I almost left my thermos, but grabbed it last minute. Caffeine's caffeine, right? We started trekking, the ground crunchy with pine needles. The closer we got, the more that tower felt wrong. It's hard to explain. Nothing horror movie obvious, just this vibe, like it didn't want us there. The wind picked up, whistling through the trees, and Sam kept yapping about ranger ghost stories to fill the silence. "They say one guy went nuts up there, started seeing things," he said, grinning. I rolled my eyes. "You're full of it." But I couldn't shake how quiet the woods were. No birds, no squirrels, nada. We hit the base, and up close, that thing was a wreck. Metal stairs twisted, paint peeling, the whole deal screaming neglect. Sam kicked at a rusted sign half buried in the dirt. "Property of U.S. Forest Service." "See? Told you rangers ditched it," he said. I nodded, but then I spotted something weird. Scuff marks on the ground. Fresh, like someone dragged a bag, or something heavier. "Hunters, maybe," I said, mostly to myself. Sam shrugged, already eyeing the stairs. He wanted to climb. Big surprise. I wasn't sold. Those steps looked ready to snap. "Come on, Riley. Live a little," he teased, starting up. I sighed, followed him. "'Cause what am I gonna do, sit there alone?" The metal groaned under us, flaking rust onto my hands. Halfway up, I stopped to catch my breath, and that's when I saw it. A smear on the railing, dark and sticky. "Sam, check this out," I called. He leaned over, squinting. "Blood." We stared at each other, the air getting heavier. "Probably an animal," he said, but his voice wobbled. I wiped my hand on my jeans, trying to play it cool, but my gut was knotting up. We kept going, reached the top. Killer view, sure, but that smear stuck with me. Sam whipped out his binoculars, scanning the trees. "Whoa, hold up," he said, freezing. I grabbed them, looked where he was pointing. Something moved down there, near our camp, too quick to catch. "Another camper?" I asked, but it didn't feel right. Too fast, too sneaky. Sam shook his head. "Dunno, but it's creepy as hell." We stood there, wind tugging at us, the tower creaking like it might give out. I glanced at that smear again. Blood, no question now. And suddenly, this didn't feel like a fun detour anymore. Something was off, and it wasn't just the weather turning sour. We decided to head back, fast. The climb down was shaky, my boots slipping on the rungs. I kept thinking about that movement, those marks. Nothing solid, just enough to make me antsy. Sam was quiet for once, and that's when you know it's bad. Whatever was out there, it was watching, and we were starting to notice. So, we're scrambling down that rickety tower in Tahoe National Forest, my heart thumping like I've had too much of Portland's finest espresso. Sam's ahead, taking the stairs two at a time, and I'm trying not to trip over my own boots. That blood smear on the railings burned into my brain, and whatever we saw moving near camp. It's got me on edge. The wind's howling now, whipping through the pines, and the whole vibe's gone from cool adventure to something seriously messed up. We hit the ground, and I'm already jogging back toward the clearing, Sam right behind me. You think it's a bear? He pants. But I don't answer. Bears don't smear blood on towers. The path's a blur, my sketch pad bouncing in my bag, and I'm kicking myself for not bringing something sharper than a pencil. We break into camp, and at first, it looks fine. Tents up, cooler's there. But then I see it. The fire pit's trashed, logs scattered like someone kicked it apart. Sam curses under his breath, circling the mess. This wasn't wind, he says, and he's right. Those logs were heavy, wedged and tight. I kneel down, spot something wet in the ash. More blood, fresh, pooling in the dirt. My stomach flips. This is horror movie bad. I mutter, standing up fast. Sam's digging through his bag for his phone. 0 bars, of course. We're cut off, miles from Sacramento, and whatever's out here knows it. That's when the smell hits, sour, like spoiled meat and damp earth. It's faint but sharp, curling up my nose. Sam gags, covering his face with his sleeve. What the hell is that? He chokes out. I don't know, but it's coming from the trees, and it's getting stronger. I grab my thermos. Dumb, I know, but it's solid, and scan the woods. Nothing moves, but it's too quiet again, like the forest is holding its breath. Then Sam grabs my arm hard. Riley, look. He's pointing at the tent, and I see it. Slashes, 3 long cuts through the nylon, clean and deep. Not claws, not random, deliberate. My mouth goes dry. That wasn't there. I say, voice barely working. We'd been gone an hour, tops, and now our stuff's marked up like a warning. Sam's eyes are wide, darting around. We need to bail, he says, and I'm nodding before he finishes. We start packing. Fast, sloppy, just shoving crap into bags. I'm yanking stakes out when I hear it. A low, guttural hum, not quite a growl, coming from behind the tent. I freeze, Sam too, and we turn slow. There's something there, tall, hunched, half hidden by the pines. It's not a person, not an animal, just this shape, dark and wrong, with limbs that don't bend right. My chest locks up, it's scary as hell, and it's staring right at us. It steps forward, just one move, and I see it clearer, skin like wet ash, no eyes, just hollows where they should be. The hum gets louder, vibrating in my skull, and Sam stumbles back, tripping over the cooler. Riley, what is that? He hisses, but I can't answer. I'm stuck, legs like lead. It tilts its head, slow, like it's sizing us up, and I swear it's smiling without a mouth. Pure, disturbing nightmare fuel. I snap out of it, grab Sam's arm, and yank him up. Run now. We bolt, leaving half our stuff, tent, cooler, whatever. The hum follows, steady, not rushing, like it knows we can't outrun it forever. We crash through the brush, branches snapping at my face, and I'm thinking about that tower, the blood, the slashes. How long's this thing been here, waiting? My lungs burn, but I don't stop. Stopping's death. We hit a slope, sliding down into a dry creek bed, rocks biting my hands. I look back. Nothing's there, but the hum's still echoing, bouncing off the trees. Sam's panting beside me, face white. It's playing with us, he says, and I hate that he's right. Whatever this is, it's not done, and we're still too far from help. So, we're down in this dry creek bed in Tahoe National Forest, me and Sam, gasping like we've run a marathon with no finish line. That thing, whatever it is out there, its creepy hum still buzzing in my ears, and I'm kicking myself for ever leaving Portland. My hands are scraped raw from the rocks, my thermos lost somewhere in the panic, and Sam's looking at me like I've got answers I don't. We're a mess, but sitting here's not an option. That horror show's too close. Which way? Sam wheezes, wiping sweat off his face. I point upstream. Feels right, like maybe it'll lead us out of this maze. We start moving, fast as we can, the creek bed twisting through the pines. My legs are jelly, but I keep going, hauling Sam up when he stumbles. We'll hit a road. I say, more to convince myself than him. Sacramento's out there somewhere, and I'm clinging to that like a lifeline. The hum fades a bit, and I think maybe we've got a shot. Big mistake, getting hopeful. We round a bend, and there's this old footbridge ahead, half-rotted planks strung over the creek. That's it, Sam says, picking up speed. I'm right behind, but as we hit the bridge, it sways bad. The wood's soft, splintering under my boots, and I yell at Sam to slow down. He doesn't, makes it across, turns back grinning. Then the plank under me cracks. I drop, one leg punching through, jagged wood tearing my jeans and skin. Pain shoots up, hot and sharp, and I'm stuck, dangling over the creek. Sam runs back, grabs my arms, but that hums back. Louder, closer. "Riley, come on," he shouts, pulling hard. I grit my teeth, yank my leg free, blood soaking my pant leg, but I'm up. We stumble off the bridge, and I glance back. That thing's there, at the other end, moving slow, like it's savoring this. It steps onto the bridge, and the whole thing groans, planks buckling. I don't wait. Hobble run into the trees, Sam dragging me along. My legs screaming, but adrenaline's got me now. The hum turns into this wet, rattling sound, like it's pissed we're slipping away. We crash through brush, thorns snagging my jacket, and I'm thinking about every dumb scary movie where they split up. Yeah, not happening here. We hit a rise, and there's a dirt road. Real, actual tire tracks. "Truck," Sam yells, pointing at this rusted heap parked off the shoulder, maybe a ranger's old ride. We sprint for it, my leg throbbing, and I'm praying it runs. Sam yanks the driver's door. Unlocked, keys dangling in the ignition. "Get in," he snaps, jumping behind the wheel. I dive into the passenger seat, slamming the door as he turns the key. It sputters, coughs, then roars to life. He floors it, gravel spraying, and I twist around. That thing's at the road now, loping after us, faster than it should be. Its arms swing wrong, too long, and those hollows where eyes should be lock on me. My heart's in my throat. It's disturbing, relentless, and way too close. The truck lurches, engine whining, but we're pulling away, trees blurring past. "Faster," I shout, even though Sam's already maxed out. The road twists, and it's still back there, shrinking but not gone. Sam's white-knuckling the wheel, muttering curses, and I'm gripping the dash, blood dripping onto the floor mat. We hit pavement, real road, finally, and the hum fades, swallowed by the engine's growl. I don't relax, though. My leg's a mess, and that thing's burned into my head, a nightmare I can't unsee. We're alive, barreling towards Sacramento, but it doesn't feel like winning. That truck's rattling like it might die any second, and I keep checking the mirrors, waiting for it to show up again. It's out there, I know it is. So, we're tearing down this back road towards Sacramento in a beat-up Ranger truck, me and Sam, with my leg bleeding all over the seat and my nerves shot to hell. I'm Riley Mae Donovan, 31, usually chilling in Portland, but right now, I'm wondering how Tahoe National Forest turned into my worst nightmare. The engine's growling, Sam's got both hands locked on the wheel, and we're both too freaked to talk much. That thing, whatever it was, isn't in the rear view anymore, but I can still feel it, like it's laughing at us. We hit a gas station maybe 20 miles out, this lonely shell with flickering lights. Sam pulls in, kills the engine, and we just sit there, breathing hard. My leg's a mess, torn skin, blood caked with dirt, and I'm lightheaded, but alive. "We made it," Sam says, voice shaky. I nod, but I'm not so sure. I hobble out, leaning on the truck, while he runs inside to call for help. No bars on our phones still. The clerk's an old guy, half asleep, doesn't even blink at our story about some animal chasing us. I'm splashing water on my face from a rusty sink out back when Sam comes out, waving a first aid kit he sweet-talked off the guy. "You're a wreck, Riley," he says, smirking a little. I laugh, weak, and let him patch me up. Gauze, tape, the works. It stings like hell, but it's something normal after all that horror. We're joking about stealing the truck, how we're basically action heroes now, when I notice the woods across the road. Too dark, too still. Sam wants to wait for a tow or cops, but I'm antsy. "Let's just drive it into town," I say. He shrugs, climbs back in, and I follow, wincing as my leg brushes the door. Big mistake, not bailing right then. We're maybe 5 miles further when the truck sputters, coughs, and dies. No, 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 Sam mutters, cranking the key. Nothing. We're stranded, middle of nowhere, with the forest pressing in on both sides. That's when the hum starts again, low, creeping up slow. My blood freezes. "Sam, you hear that?" I whisper. He nods, eyes huge, and we scan the trees. It's there, across the road, half lit by the moon, that same hunched shape with its twisted arms and eyeless stare. It's back, and we're sitting ducks. I grab the door handle, ready to run, but my legs screaming. I won't make it far. Sam's fumbling with the keys, cursing, like they'll magically work now. It moves, fast this time, darting across the road, and I yell, "Go!" We stumble out, me limping, Sam dragging me toward the trees. Dumb. Yeah, but the truck's a trap. My leg gives out, and I hit the dirt, Sam pulling at my arm. "Come on, Riley," he shouts, but that thing's on us, a blur of gray and wrong. I swing at it with the first aid kit. Pathetic, I know, and it grabs Sam, yanking him off me like he weighs nothing. He screams, thrashing, and I'm clawing at the ground, trying to get up, but it's too quick. 1 second he's there, the next he's gone, dragged into the dark, his yell cutting off sharp. I'm alone, sprawled in the dirt, that hum fading as it takes him. My vision blurs, pain, shock, whatever, and I crawl back to the truck, lock myself in, sobbing like a kid. It doesn't come back for me, not then. Cops found me at dawn, half dead from blood loss, babbling about Sam and something in the woods. They searched, found nothing. No body, no tracks, just the trash truck. I'm back in Portland now, legs scarred up, jumping at every shadow. They say it was a bear, but I know better. That thing was no animal. It took Sam, and I didn't save him. That's the tragedy I live with, and it's more disturbing than anything I'll ever draw. I don't camp anymore. Can't even look at a forest without hearing that hum. Whatever it was, it's still out there, and I'm scared it's not done with me yet. I'm Jenna Rose Harper, 26 years old, and I'm usually holed up in Seattle, Washington, hustling as a barista and dreaming of something bigger. I'm the artsy type, always got a camera slung around my neck, chasing the perfect shot. That's why, when my cousin Nate texted me about a camping trip near Sacramento, I couldn't say no. He's 29, a mechanic from Boise, Idaho, with this chill vibe and a love for anything with an engine. We hadn't hung out since we were kids, so it felt like a chance to reconnect. Nate pitched the idea hard. A weekend in the Plumas National Forest, just north of Sacramento, near this old Ranger lookout tower he'd found on some obscure forum. "It's got killer views, Jen," he said over the phone, his voice crackling with excitement. "And no one's been up there in years." I was sold. Needed a break from Seattle's gray drizzle and the espresso grind. Plus, snapping pics of a forgotten tower sounded like my kind of adventure. I packed my gear, camera, a beat-up journal, some snacks, and caught a cheap flight to Sacramento. Nate met me there in his dusty pickup, grinning like a goof as he tossed my bag in the back. "Ready for the wild?" he asked, and I laughed, climbing in. The drive to Plumas was smooth, city lights fading into endless pines. We swapped stories, me about Seattle's hipster chaos, him about fixing rigs in Boise, until we hit a gravel road that rattled my teeth. We pulled into a clearing as the sun dipped low, painting the forest gold. The tower was maybe a mile off, this weathered spike jutting up through the trees, Ranger-built, long abandoned. Nate parked, and we hauled out the basics, a tent, his fishing gear, my tripod. "No service out here," he said, checking his phone. I didn't mind. Felt good to unplug, just me, Nate, and the woods. Setting up camp was a team effort. I'm useless with tents, always have been. So Nate took charge, hammering stakes while I gathered firewood. He teased me about my city hands, and I flicked a pine cone at him, laughing. By dusk, we had a fire crackling, the smell of smoke mixing with the crisp air. I snapped a few shots of the flames, the tower's silhouette looming in the background. Perfect moody vibes. We cracked open some beers Nate had stashed, toasting to family time. He sprawled out on a log, telling me how Rangers used to man that tower, watching for fires back in the 60s. "Bet they saw some weird stuff up there," he said, smirking. I grinned, already framing a night shot in my head. The forest hummed around us, crickets, wind, the usual, and it felt peaceful, like we'd hit reset. I played with my camera settings, testing exposures, while Nate poked at the fire. "You're obsessed," he said, nodding at the lens. Guilty, I shot back, zooming in on the tower. Something about it pulled me in. Maybe the way it stood there, all lonely and proud. I didn't say it, but I was stoked to explore it tomorrow. Night settled in, stars popping out like glitter. We swapped dumb ghost stories. Nate's about a haunted garage, mine about a Seattle alley, and it was all laughs. I crawled into the tent later, Nate crashing beside me, his snores kicking in fast. I lay there, listening to the woods, feeling good, too good, maybe. The tower was out there, a dark smudge against the sky. I drifted off thinking about my shots, totally clueless that we'd just rolled into something way darker than a photo op. Morning hit like a slap, all chilly and damp in Plumas National Forest. I woke up with Nate's arm flopped across my face. Real classy start. I wriggled out of the tent, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and took in the scene. The fire was a sad pile of ash, and that ranger tower stood tall in the distance, catching the first light. Seattle's fog's got nothing on this crisp air. It woke me up fast, even without coffee. I grabbed my camera, itching to snap some dawn shots. Nate stumbled out, yawning like a bear. "You're up early," he grumbled, scratching his mess of hair. "Gotta catch the light," I said, grinning as I adjusted my lens. He shrugged, digging through his bag for instant oatmeal, our gourmet breakfast. We fumbled with a tiny camp stove, and I burned my fingers trying to pour hot water. "Smooth, Jen," Nate laughed, tossing me a spoon. It was messy, but we ate, the oatmeal sticking to my ribs. The plan was to hike to the tower, Nate's big idea. "We'll climb it, get some epic pics," he said, all pumped. I was game, but my gut twinged. Something about that tower felt off in the daylight. Too quiet, maybe. Still, I packed my camera, tripod, and a water bottle, while Nate grabbed his fishing knife. Just in case, he winked. We set off, the trail crunching underfoot, pines towering over us like nosy neighbors. The hike was easy at first, just a gentle slope, but the closer we got, the weirder it felt. The woods went hush, no birds chirping, no breeze, just our breathing. Nate noticed too, frowning. "Kinda dead out here," he said. I nodded, snapping a pic of the tower's base. Rusted metal, vines choking the legs. It looked like it had been forgotten forever, and not in a cool way. More like a get-out-of-here way. We reached it, and up close, it was a beast. Stairs spiraling up, some steps missing, paint peeling like old skin. Nate kicked at a rock, grinning. "Ready to climb?" I hesitated. Those gaps in the stairs weren't inviting. "Maybe we just shoot from down here," I said. But he was already halfway up, calling me a wimp. I sighed, slung my camera strap tight, and followed. Can't let family outdo me, right? The climb was shaky, metal creaking under us. I gripped the rail, my palms sweaty, and kept my eyes on Nate's boots. Halfway up, I stopped to catch my breath, glancing down. Bad move. The ground looked too far, and something caught my eye. A pile of feathers near the base, fresh, like a bird got shredded. "Nate, you see that?" I called. He leaned over, squinting. "Hawk, maybe." I wasn't buying it. Too many feathers, too neat, like they'd been arranged. My stomach did a little flip, but I shook it off, kept climbing. At the top, the view was insane. Plumas stretching out, Sacramento somewhere south, but that weird vibe didn't quit. Nate was poking around the platform, and I set up my tripod, framing the shot. That's when I saw it through the lens. Something glinting in the trees near camp, quick and gone. "Hey, Nate," I said, lowering the camera. Something moved down there. He grabbed his knife, joking, Bigfoot. But his grin faded when he saw my face. We watched, waiting, and there it was again. Faster, closer, a blur between the pines. "Another camper?" I said, hopeful. Nate shook his head slow. "Not moving like that." My hands tightened on the camera. Whatever it wasn't friendly. We stood there, tower swaying a bit in the wind, and I couldn't shake the chill creeping up my spine. The feathers, the quiet, that glint, it was adding up to something I didn't like. Nate clapped my shoulder, trying to laugh it off. "Let's head back, check it out." I nodded, but as we started down, I kept glancing at the trees, feeling like we'd just poked something we shouldn't have. So, we're clambering down that shaky tower in Plumas National Forest, my camera banging against my chest, and I'm starting to wish I'd stayed in Seattle pouring lattes. Nate's ahead, taking the stairs like he's invincible, but I'm moving slow, that glint in the trees stuck in my head. The metal groans under us, rust flaking off, and I'm thinking about those feathers. Too many, too weird. By the time we hit the ground, my hands are clammy, and the woods feel way too still. We start back toward camp, Nate gripping his fishing knife like it's a security blanket. "Probably just a deer," he says, but his voice is off, like he's trying to convince himself. I don't buy it. Deer don't glint like metal, don't move that fast. The trail's familiar, but it's different now. Darker, even with the sun up. I keep my camera ready, half hoping I'll catch whatever it was, half praying I won't. We're halfway when the smell hits, sharp, like burnt hair and wet rot. I gag, cover my nose with my sleeve. "You smell that?" I ask. Nate nods, grimacing. "Yeah, nasty. It's coming from ahead, near camp, and it's strong enough to make my eyes water." We push on, slower now, and I spot something. Our tent's in sight, but there's a shadow stretched across it, long and wrong, like it's waiting. I grab Nate's arm, point. "Look." He freezes, knife up, and we watch. The shadow shifts, and then it steps out. Tall, too tall, with arms that hang past its knees. It's got this patchy, dark hide, like burned leather, and its head's just off, tilted, no clear face. My breath catches. It's horror straight out of a nightmare, standing there by our fire pit like it owns the place. Nate whispers, "What the hell?" It doesn't move at first, just stands, swaying a little. I fumble with my camera, stupid, I know, but I snap a shot, the click loud in the silence. That's when it turns, slow, and I see it's got no eyes, just these deep pits. My stomach drops. "Nate, we gotta go." I hiss, but he's rooted, staring. It takes a step toward us, and the ground crunches, bones, small ones, scattered under its feet. That's when I see the blood, smeared on its hands or claws, or whatever they are. "Run!" I yell, yanking Nate back. We bolt, crashing through the brush, my tripod smacking my leg. That smell follows, thick and suffocating, and I hear it. A low, scraping sound, like it's dragging something. I glance back. It's moving, not fast but steady, cutting through the trees like it knows every inch. My lungs burn, but I don't stop. It's scary, relentless, and way too real. We hit a ditch, tumble down, and I lose my tripod. Screw it, not worth it. Nate's up first, pulling me along, his knife still clutched tight. "What is that thing?" he pants, but I've got no answers, just panic. Camp's trash behind us. I saw the tent slashed, gear tossed, like it had been waiting for us to leave. My camera is still around my neck, banging my ribs, and I'm kicking myself for that photo. Did it hear me? We keep running, weaving through pines, the tower fading behind us. That scraping's fainter now, but it's still there, echoing. Nate trips, curses, and I haul him up. Can't lose him, not to that. "Road's gotta be close," I say, desperate. He nods, but his eyes are wild, and I know he's thinking the same thing. This isn't some ranger ghost story gone wrong. This is something worse. We break into a clearing, gasping, and I look back. No sign of it, but the air is heavy, like it's watching. My hands shake, the camera strap cutting into my neck. Whatever that was, it's not done with us, and we're still too deep in these woods. So, we're in this clearing in Plumas National Forest, me and Nate, panting like we've just outrun death. Which, yeah, we kinda have. My camera is digging into my collarbone, my lungs are screaming, and that thing, whatever it is still out there. Its scraping sound fading, but not gone. I'm cursing every artsy impulse that dragged me from Seattle to Sacramento's backyard. Nate's gripping his knife, eyes darting, and I can tell he's as freaked as me. "We can't stay here," I say, voice raw. Nate nods, wiping sweat off his face. "Road's that way, maybe a mile." A mile feels like forever with my legs shaking, but we've got no choice. We start moving, fast, sticking close. None of that splitting up nonsense you see in scary movies. The trees thin out a bit, and I'm praying for asphalt, a ranger, anything human. We're dodging roots when the ground dips. A steep ravine, rocks jutting out like teeth. "Careful," Nate yells, but I'm already sliding, gravel biting my hands. I hit bottom, knees jarring, and he's right behind, pulling me up. My camera lens cracks against a stone. Great, there goes my paycheck, but I'm alive. That scraping's back, closer, and I look up. It's at the edge, peering down, those eyeless pits locked on us. It starts descending, slow and jerky, like it's got all the time in the world. My heart's hammering. It's horror in motion, and we're the prey. "Go, go," I shout, shoving Nate ahead. We scramble along the ravine, rocks slipping underfoot, my cracked lens bouncing uselessly. The air's thick with that rot smell, choking me, and I hear it hit the bottom. Too close, way too close. We spot a creek, shallow, but it's something. "Cross it," Nate says, splashing through. I follow, water soaking my boots, cold snapping me awake. On the other side, there's a ridge, steep but climbable. I grab roots, haul myself up, Nate pushing from below. My hands bleed, but I don't care. That thing's wading the creek now, its arms swinging like pendulums. It's disturbing, relentless, and I'm not sure we can shake it. We crest the ridge, and there's a dirt track, old, rutted, but a road. Keep going. I gasp, spotting a glint ahead. A parked ATV, rusted but real, maybe some Rangers leftovers. Nate sprints for it, me limping behind, and he's yanking at the handlebars when I hear it. That scraping, right at the ridge. It's up, staring, and my stomach drops. Nate now, I yell, diving onto the back. He twists the key. Thank God it's there. And the engine sputters, then roars. We peel out, dirt spraying, and I cling to him, glancing back. It's running now, full tilt, those long arms pumping. The ATV's shaky, bouncing over ruts, but we're pulling away, barely. My camera slips, dangles by the strap, and I let it go. Screw the shots, I just want out. The road curves, and it's still there, a dark smear in the dust. We hit pavement, finally, tires humming, and the scraping fades. Nate guns it, trees blurring past, and I'm shaking so bad I can hardly hold on. Sacramento's close, he shouts over the wind, but I'm not counting on anything yet. That thing's pace, it's not natural, and I keep waiting for it to pop up ahead, blocking us. The ATV's coughing, gas low, but we're moving, alive for now. My hands are raw, my lens is trash, and that eyeless face is burned into me. We've got a shot, but it's slim, and I can't shake the feeling it's still playing with us. So, we're roaring down this patchy road out of Plumas National Forest, me clinging to Nate on this rattling ATV, my hands torn up and my heart pounding like a drum. I'm usually snapping pics in Seattle, not running from some horror show, but here we are, Sacramento's glow faint on the horizon. The engine's whining, gas needle kissing empty, and that thing's scraping sound is gone, for now. Nate's focused, leaning into the turns, but I can feel his tension through his jacket. We hit a stretch of highway, finally, real pavement, signs of life. I'm thinking maybe we've made it. Maybe we can laugh this off over beers later. We pull into a truck stop, neon buzzing, a couple semis idling nearby. The ATV sputters out as we roll in, dead on fumes. I slide off, legs wobbly, and Nate's grinning like we've cheated fate. Told you we'd make it, he says, clapping my shoulder. I force a laugh, but my gut's still knotted. There's a payphone, old school, but it works. Nate calls a buddy in Sacramento while I limp to the bathroom, splashing water on my face. My hands are a mess, blood and dirt caked under my nails, and my camera is gone, lost to the woods. I stare in the mirror, barely recognizing the wide-eyed wreck looking back. We're safe, right? Truckers are chatting outside, normal life ticking along. I almost believe it. Nate's got a tow lined up, says we'll crash at his friend's place. No more camping, he jokes, and I nod, forcing a smile. We grab coffee from the diner, burnt, but hot, and sit on the curb, waiting. I'm sipping, starting to unwind, when Nate decides to check the ATV, see if it's salvageable. Be right back, he says, heading over. I stay put, too beat to move, biggest mistake I'll ever make. I hear it first, that low scrape, faint but unmistakable, cutting through the diesel hum. My head snaps up, coffee spilling, and I see it. Across the lot, by the trees lining the stop. That thing, tall and eyeless, just standing there, watching. Nate! I yell, scrambling up, but he's bent over the ATV, fiddling with the engine. It moves, fast, silent, crossing the lot in seconds. I'm running, screaming his name, but it's on him before I'm halfway there. He doesn't even get a chance to turn. It grabs him, arms wrapping tight, and yanks him back toward the trees. I hear a crack, his neck, maybe, and he's gone, swallowed by the dark. I freeze, legs locked, a trucker shouting, "What the hell?" behind me. I stumble forward, but it's too late. Nothing's there, just tire tracks and Nate's dropped knife glinting in the dirt. The scraping's gone, like it was never real. Cops show up, lights flashing, asking questions I can't answer. Some animal. I mumble, but they don't buy it. No tracks, no blood, just me, a wrecked girl with no proof. They search the woods, find nothing, not even his body. I hitch a ride to Sacramento, crash at some motel, staring at the ceiling. My hands shake too much to hold a camera anymore, and every night, I hear that scrape in my dreams. Nate's gone. My cousin, my anchor, and it's my fault. I should have made him stay, should have fought harder. That thing took him, right under those neon lights, and left me with nothing but guilt. I'm back in Seattle now, jumping at shadows, knowing it's still out there, waiting. It's not just a forest monster. It followed us, and I'm terrified it's not done. I don't know what's worse, losing him or knowing it let me live to feel it. Either way, it's a tragedy I can't outrun. I'm Casey Lee Morrow, 34 years old, and I'm usually kicking around in Denver, Colorado, fixing up old bikes for a living. I've got grease under my nails and a soft spot for the open road. Keeps me sane when the city gets too loud. That's why, when my old high school buddy Dylan hit me up about a camping trip near Sacramento, I didn't even blink. He's 35, a laid-back carpenter from Boise, always chasing some wild idea. We hadn't seen each other in years, but the guy's got a knack for dragging me into stuff. Dylan's pitch was simple: a long weekend in the Sierra National Forest, just south of Sacramento, crashing near an old Ranger lookout tower he'd scoped out. "It's off the map, Case," he said over a crackly call. "Perfect for kicking back." I was in, needed a break from Denver's smog and the grind. A tower in the woods sounded chill, maybe a chance to tinker with my camera, too. I dabble in photography when I'm not wrenching on engines. I threw some gear together, sleeping bag, my Nikon, a flask of whiskey, and drove the 15 hours from Denver, rolling into Sacramento stiff but stoked. Dylan met me at a diner, all grins and sawdust in his beard, his beat-up Ford packed with supplies. "Ready to rough it?" he asked, tossing me a burger. We chewed, caught up, me on bike builds, him on Boise's quiet, and then hit the road south, pavement turning to dirt as the Sierra swallowed us up. We pulled into a clearing by late afternoon, the sun dipping behind jagged peaks. The tower was close, a quarter-mile off, maybe, this weathered hunk of steel poking through the pines. "Used to be a ranger post," Dylan said, "abandoned since the 80s. We unloaded, tent, his cooler, my toolkit, just in case, and set up quick. I'm decent with stakes, but Dylan's the pro, hammering away while I scrounged firewood. Fire going, we cracked the cooler, beers for him, whiskey for me, and settled in. The air was crisp, smelling like pine and earth, a far cry from Denver's exhaust. I snapped a few shots of the tower, its silhouette sharp against the sunset. "Rangers lived up there, huh?" I said, zooming in. Dylan nodded, sipping his drink. "Yeah, bet they had stories." I grinned. "Stories are half the fun out here." We swapped some dumb stuff, like the time he fell off a roof in Boise, me racing bikes in the Rockies. The fire popped, throwing sparks, and I leaned back, feeling good. No deadlines, no noise, just us in the woods. Dylan stretched out, beer in hand, while I fiddled with my camera, testing night mode. The tower loomed, a dark spike under the stars, and I couldn't help but frame it. Had a vibe I liked. Night crept in, the forest humming, owls, wind, the usual. Dylan's easy laugh echoed as he recounted some bar fight he'd dodged. I sipped my whiskey, warm in my chest, thinking this was exactly what I needed. The tower caught my eye again, standing there like it was waiting for something. I didn't dwell on it, yet. We crashed in the tent, Dylan snoring like a chainsaw within minutes. I lay there, camera beside me, the forest alive outside. It was peaceful, maybe too peaceful, but I didn't clock it then, just drifted off, figuring we'd explore that tower tomorrow. I had no idea we were already in too deep, and that old ranger post was about to turn our trip into something else entirely. Morning snuck up fast in Sierra National Forest, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. I woke up with Dylan's foot in my back, real charming, and crawled out of the tent, stretching my creaky joints. The fire was dead, just a gray smudge, and that ranger tower loomed through the pines, catching the dawn like it owned it. Denver's altitude's got nothing on this air. It's sharp, wakes you up quick. I grabbed my flask, took a swig to shake the chill. Dylan stumbled out, rubbing his eyes, hair sticking up like a mad scientist. "You sleep okay?" he mumbled, digging for coffee in his bag. "Like a rock," I lied, his snoring's a war crime. We fumbled with a camp stove, boiling water for instant brew. I scalded my tongue on the first sip, Tastes like dirt, but it's fuel. Dylan grinned, tossing me a granola bar. Breakfast of kings, he said. I laughed, crunching away, good enough for now. The plan was to hit the tower. Dylan's obsessed. We'll climb it, get some shots, he said, nodding at my Nikon. I was cool with it, great light for pics, but something about that tower nagged me, like it was too still. Still, I packed light. Camera, water, my toolkit in case it's a rust bucket. Dylan grabbed a hammer, for vibes, he joked, and we headed out, boots crunching over pine needles. The hike was short but steep, the forest quiet, too quiet, maybe. No squirrels, no wind rustling, just our steps. Dylan noticed, frowning. Weird, huh? I shrugged, snapping a pic of the trail, trying to ignore the itch in my gut. The tower came into view, closer now, all weathered steel and broken steps. It's got that abandoned vibe, like it's been left to sulk since Sacramento's rangers bailed. We hit the base, and man, it's a relic, stairs half gone, metal twisted like it's tired. Dylan kicked at some debris, old cans, a busted boot. Ranger trash, he said, smirking. I ran my hand over the frame, rough, cold, and spotted something. Scratches, deep ones, gouged into the steel. There, I said, half asking. Dylan squinted. Dunno, looks deliberate. My stomach did a little twist, but I brushed it off. He wanted to climb, big shock. Come on, Case, it's sturdy, he said, starting up. I hesitated. Those gaps in the stairs looked dicey, but followed, camera bouncing against my chest. The metal creaked, swaying a bit, and I gripped the rail tight. Halfway up, I stopped, catching my breath, and saw it. A smear on the step below, dark, sticky. Dylan, check this, I called. He leaned down, frowning. Blood. We locked eyes, the air getting heavy. Probably old, he said, but it didn't look old, too wet. I wiped my hand on my jeans, heart ticking faster, and we kept going. At the top, the view's killer, Sierra sprawling out, Sacramento somewhere north, but that smear stuck with me. Dylan poked around, hammer in hand, while I set up my Nikon, framing the horizon. Then I saw it, a flicker near camp, quick, like a shadow ducking out of sight. Hey, you catch that? I said, lowering the camera. Dylan grabbed my arm, pointing. There again. Something moved, low and fast, weaving through the trees. Hiker, I hoped, but it didn't move human. Dylan shook his head slow. Too sneaky. My hands tightened on the Nikon. Whatever it wasn't here for a chat. We stood there, tower groaning under us, and I couldn't shake the chill. The scratches, the blood, that flicker, it was piling up, and not in a good way. Dylan clapped my back, forcing a grin. Let's head down, scope it out. I nodded, but as we started back, I kept glancing at the woods, feeling like we'd just tripped over something we weren't meant to find. So, we're scrambling down that creaky tower in Sierra National Forest, my Nikon thumping against my ribs, and I'm starting to think Denver's garage fumes are a dream compared to this. Dylan's ahead, moving fast, but I'm taking it slow. Those blood smears on the steps are gnawing at me. The metal winds under us, rust dusting my boots, and I'm replaying that flicker near camp. By the time we hit solid ground, my palms are sweaty, and the woods feel like they're closing in. We start back, Dylan clutching his hammer like it's a lifeline. Maybe it's a cougar, he says, but his tone's shaky. He doesn't believe it. I don't either. Cougars don't scratch steel or leave wet blood on towers. The trail's the same, but it's off. Too dark under the pines, too quiet. I keep my camera up, lens ready, like it'll protect me. We're almost to camp when the smell hits. Rank, like spoiled meat and burnt rubber, thick enough to choke on. I cough, covering my face. What the hell's that? Dylan gags, nodding toward camp. We push forward, and there it is. Our tent's in sight, but something standing by it. Tall, hunched, with this mottled, grayish hide that looks wrong, like it's been stitched together. Its arms dangle too low, fingers, or claws, twitching. No face, just a smooth stretch where one should be. My gut drops. It's pure horror, and it's parked right where we slept. Dylan freezes, hammer up. Casey, you seeing this? I nod, fumbling with my camera. Dumb move, but I snap a shot, the shutter loud as a gunshot. It jerks, head tilting slow, and I swear it hears me. Those blank sockets zero in, and my chest tightens. It's scary as hell, standing there like it owns us. Dylan whispers, we're screwed, and I can't argue. It shifts, stepping over our fire pit, and I see bones, fresh, cracked open, scattered in the dirt. "Run!" I hiss, yanking him back. We bolt, crashing through the brush, my camera strap snagging on branches. That smell follows, heavy and sick, and I hear it. A low, grinding rasp like metal on bone. I glance back. It's moving, slow but sure, weaving through the trees like it knows the layout. My lungs burn, but I push harder. It's disturbing, deliberate, and way too close. We hit a slope, sliding down, rocks tearing at my jeans. Dylan's hammer slips, clatters away, gone, and I grab his arm, hauling him up. "Keep going," I yell, but my voice cracks. Camp's a wreck behind us, tint slashed, cooler flipped, like it had torn through while we were at the tower. My Nikon's lens fogs up, useless now, and I'm kicking myself for that photo. Did I piss it off? We stumble into a dry wash, tripping over stones, and that rasp's still there, echoing off the trees. Dylan's panting, wild-eyed. "What is it?" he gasps, but I've got nothing, just fear. It's not a ranger ghost, not some animal. This is worse, something that doesn't belong. We spot a ridge ahead, steep but climbable. "Up!" I shout, clawing at roots, pulling him with me. We crest it, gasping, and I look back. It's at the wash's edge, staring up, that blank face tilted like it's curious. My hands shake, the camera banging my chest. "Road's gotta be near," I say, desperate. Dylan nods, but his face says it all. We're running blind, and this thing's not letting up. The rasp spikes, louder, and I know it's climbing after us. We're alive, barely, but trapped in its game. The forest feels alive with it, and every step's a gamble we might not win. So, we're scrambling off that ridge in Sierra National Forest, me and Dylan, my Nikon swinging like a pendulum and my lungs screaming for air. Denver's a distant memory. I'd take oil stains over this nightmare any day. That thing's rasp is right behind us, clawing up the slope, and I can still smell that rot stink, thick as tar. Dylan's ahead, wild-eyed, his hammer long gone, and I'm shoving him forward, praying we hit something. Anything that gets us out. "Road," Dylan yells, pointing through the trees. It's there, dirt, rutted, but real. We bolt for it, branches snapping at my face, my boots slipping in the muck. My camera is a dead weight now, lens cracked from the fall, but I can't ditch it. Not yet. That rasp spikes, closer, and I don't look back. Can't. We hit the road, legs burning, and spot a glint. An old Ranger Jeep, parked crooked, keys dangling in the ignition like a gift. We dive in, Dylan behind the wheel, me shotgun, and he twists the key. It sputters, coughs, then roars. "Go, go," I shout, slamming the door as he floors it. Gravel sprays, the Jeep lurching forward, and I twist around. That thing's at the road's edge, loping after us, its blank face tilted like it's pissed. Those arms swing wrong, too long, and it's fast, too fast. My heart's in my throat. It's horror on legs, and we're barely ahead. The Jeep bounces, suspension creaking, and Dylan's white-knuckling the wheel. "Hold on," he yells, swerving around a pothole. I grip the dash, my cracked lens banging my chest, and watch it in the side mirror, closing, relentless. The road twists, trees blurring, and I'm thinking about every dumb move that got us here. Climbing that tower, snapping that pick. It's gaining, and the Jeep's whining like it might quit. We hit a straight stretch, and Dylan guns it, engine screaming. "Come on, baby," he mutters, like sweet-talking it'll help. I glance back. It's still there, a gray smear in the dust, but we're pulling away, inch by inch. My hands shake, whiskey flask digging into my hip. Useless now. The rasp fades, swallowed by the roar, and I think maybe, just maybe, we've got a shot. Then the road dips. A bridge, old wood over a dry creek. "Slow down," I yell, but Dylan's too wired, hits at full speed. The planks groan, splintering, and the Jeep fishtails. My side slams the rail, wood cracking loud. We make it, barely, skidding onto dirt again, but I hear it. That thing's on the bridge now, boards snapping under it. I look back. It stopped, staring, like the creek's a line it won't cross. "Keep going," I snap, and Dylan doesn't argue. We barrel on, the Jeep rattling like it's about to fall apart. Sacramento's out there, somewhere, and I'm clinging to that. Civilization, safety, anything but this. The rasp's gone, but my pulse won't quit. It's disturbing how close we cut it. My hands are raw, gripping the seat, and I can't shake that blank face. Did it let us go, or is it just waiting? Pavement finally, real road, smooth under the tires. Dylan eases off, breathing hard, and I slump back, sweat stinging my eyes. "We're good," he says, voice shaky. I nod, but I'm not sold. That thing's still out there, and we're not out of the woods yet. Not really. The Jeep's limping, gas low, but we're moving. I keep checking the mirrors, expecting it to pop up, but it's just us and the road. Alive, for now, but it doesn't feel like winning. Not with that thing still haunting the rear view. We're rolling down this Sacramento highway in a rattling Ranger Jeep. Me and Dylan, my cracked Nikon bouncing on the seat, and my hands still shaking from the chase. Denver's grease pits feel like a fairy tale compared to this mess. The engine's growling, Dylan's got a death grip on the wheel, and we're both quiet, like talking might jinx it. That thing's rasp is gone, the woods fading behind us, but I can't shake the chill, like it's still out there, biding its time. We hit a gas station just outside town, some neon-lit shell with a couple pumps and a sleepy clerk. Dylan pulls in, kills the engine, and we just sit there, catching our breath. My hands are a mess, scraped raw, dirt caked in, and my flasks dented from slamming the dash. "We're alive," he says, half laughing, like he can't believe it. I nod, forcing a grin, but my gut's still twisted. Too close, way too close. I climb out, legs like jelly, and Dylan heads inside to pay for gas. Jeep's on fumes. I lean against the hood, gulping air, trying to piece it together. That blank face, those bones, the way it moved, none of it fits. Sacramento's skyline glows faint in the distance. Normal life, so close I can taste it. I dig out my flask, take a swig, whiskey burns, but it steadies me. Dylan comes back, tossing me a water bottle. "You good?" he asks. "Yeah." I lie, splashing my face. We fuel up, the clerk barely glancing at us. Guess we don't look that wrecked. Dylan wants to head straight to a motel, crash and forget this. "No more towers," he says, smirking. I laugh. Weak, and we climb back in. Big mistake, not bailing right then. We're pulling out, headlights cutting the dark, when I hear it, a faint rasp, low and grinding, from the trees across the lot. My blood freezes. "Dylan, you hear that?" He stops, listens. There it is again, closer. "No way," he mutters, but I see it. That hunched shape, gray and wrong, stepping out from the pines. It's followed us, all the way from Sierra, and it's not done. "Drive," I yell, but Dylan fumbles the keys, drops them under the seat. I lunge for the door lock as it moves, fast, crossing the lot in a blur, those long arms swinging. The clerk's yelling something, but it's on us. It hits Dylan's side, glass shattering, and he screams, short, sharp, cut off as it yanks him out. I grab his arm, pull, but it's like fighting a machine, too strong. He's gone, dragged into the dark, and I'm left gripping air, glass cutting my hand. It happens so fast, the rasp spikes, then fades, and he's just not there. I stumble out, shouting his name, but the lot's empty, save for blood on the pavement and his boot by the trees. Cops show up quick, someone called it in. They find me pacing, babbling about something big, but there's no body, no tracks, just the trashed Jeep and me, a shaking mess. They say it's a hit and run, maybe a bear, but I know better. That thing wasn't human, was an animal. I hitch back to Sacramento, crash in some dive motel, staring at my busted Nikon. Every creak's that rasp now, every shadow's that blank face. Dylan's gone, my oldest friend, ripped away cause I didn't push us to leave sooner. I'm back in Denver now, bikes untouched, jumping at nothing. That horror followed us, took him right under those lights, and left me to carry it. I don't sleep much, can't, knowing it's still out there, maybe waiting for me to slip up again. It's a tragedy I'll never fix, and the worst part? I think it let me live just to feel it twist. I'm Harper Grace Ellis, 29 years old, and I'm usually tucked away in Austin, Texas, slinging drinks at a dive bar and strumming my guitar when the mood hits. I'm a night owl by trade, but I've got this itch for wide open spaces. Something about the quiet pulls me in. That's why, when my old college roommate Mia texted about a camping trip near Sacramento, I jumped at it. She's 30, a graphic designer from Tucson, Arizona, with a chill vibe and a love for weird adventures. Mia's idea was gold. A few days in the Shasta Trinity National Forest, northwest of Sacramento, near an old park ranger tower she dug up online. "It's got character, Harp," she said over a late-night call, her voice buzzing. Totally off-grid. I was hooked. Austin's heat was frying me, and I needed a breather. A tower in the woods sounded like the perfect reset, maybe a chance to snap some pics with my beat-up Polaroid too. I packed light, sleeping bag, my guitar, a bag of jerky, and hitched a ride with a trucker pal heading west. Met Mia in Sacramento, her Prius stuffed with gear, her grin wide as she waved me over. "Ready to ditch the world?" she asked, tossing me a coffee. We laughed, swapped stories, me on bar fights, her on Tucson's art scene, and rolled north, city fading into Shasta's endless pines. We pulled off a dirt track by dusk, the forest swallowing us whole. The tower was close, a half-mile off, maybe. This weathered skeleton poking through the trees, a ranger relic left to rot. We unloaded, tent, her cooler, my Polaroid, and set up fast. I'm decent with knots, so I strung the tent while Mia gathered wood, teasing me about my cowboy skills. Fire crackling, we settled in, the air cool and sharp. We cracked some sodas, Mia's off booze, I'm just lazy, and sprawled by the flames. I strummed a few chords, the notes drifting into the dark, while she sketched the tower in her notebook. "Rangers used to live up there," she said, pencil scratching. "Spotting fires, living off the land." I nodded, snapping a Polaroid. Its silhouette hit just right against the sunset. Felt good, you know? Simple. The fire popped, throwing shadows, and we swapped dumb tales. Her about a Tucson ghost tour, me about a barstool brawl. Mia's laugh cut through the quiet, bright and easy. I leaned back, soda in hand, soaking it in. No neon, no drunks, just us in the woods. The tower loomed, a dark smudge under the stars, and I couldn't help but frame another shot. Something about it drew me. Night rolled in, the forest humming, crickets, a far-off owl. Mia stretched, yawning. "This is it, huh?" she said, and I grinned. Yeah, this was it. We crawled into the tent, her sketching by headlamp, me fiddling with my guitar strings. The tower stayed in my head, standing there like a sentinel. I didn't clock it then, just drifted off, thinking we'd climb it tomorrow. Sleep hit fast, Mia's breathing soft beside me. The woods were alive out there, a steady buzz that lulled me under. I had no clue we'd just stepped into something way uglier than a chill getaway. That tower was watching, and we were too dumb to see it. Morning crept in cold and gray in Shasta Trinity National Forest, the kind of damp that makes you regret leaving your sleeping bag. I woke up with Mia's sketchbook poking my side, girls a sprawler, and unzipped the tent, blinking at the haze. The fire was toast, just soggy ash, and that ranger tower stood out there, cutting through the mist like it was daring us. Austin's heat's a beast, but this chill? It's got teeth. I grabbed my jerky, chewed a piece to wake up. Mia rolled out, groaning, her hair a tangle. "You snore, Harp," she mumbled, rummaging for her instant coffee. "Lies," I shot back, grinning as I handed her a water bottle. We fumbled with the camp stove, me burning my fingers, her laughing, and got some brew going. "It's weak, tastes like burnt socks, but it's warm." She tossed me an apple from her cooler. "Breakfast special," she said. I caught it, took a bite, good enough. The plan was to hike to the tower, Mia's big pitch. "We'll climb it, get some sketches," she said, eyes lighting up. I was in, perfect light for Polaroids, but something about it felt off, like it was too quiet around here. Still, I packed my camera, guitar strap slung over my shoulder, while Mia grabbed her pencils. "My weapons," she joked. We headed out, the trail soft underfoot, pines looming like bouncers at my bar. The walk was easy at first, just a gentle rise, but the woods were dead silent. No birds, no rustling, just us. Mia noticed, frowning. "Kinda eerie, huh?" I nodded, snapping a pic of the path, trying to shake the weirdness. The tower loomed closer, its steel frame jagged against the sky. It's got that abandoned vibe, like it's sulking since the rangers ditched it. I ran my hand over a post, rough, cold, and spotted scratches, deep ones, carved into the metal. "There," I said, half guessing. Mia squinted, tracing them with her finger. "Maybe, but weird." My gut twinged, but I let it slide. "We're here for fun. right? She wanted to climb, bouncing on her toes. Come on, Harp, it's solid, she said, starting up. I hesitated. Those stairs looked dicey, gaps big enough to slip through, but followed, Polaroid banging my hip. The metal creaked, swaying a little, and I gripped the rail tight. Halfway up, I stopped, catching my breath, and saw something. A smear on the step below, dark, tacky. Mia, check this, I called. She leaned down, frowning. Blood. We locked eyes, the air getting thick. Old, probably, she said, but it didn't look old, too fresh. I wiped my hand on my jeans, pulse kicking up, and we kept going. At the top, the view's unreal, Shasta sprawling out, Sacramento somewhere south, but that smear stuck with me. Mia set up her sketchbook, scribbling fast, while I framed a shot. Then I saw it, a flicker near camp, quick and low, ducking through the trees. You catch that? I said, lowering the Polaroid. She grabbed my arm, pointing. There again. Something moved, smooth and fast, not human. Hiker. I hoped, but it didn't fit. Mia shook her head slow. Too slick. My hands tightened on the camera. Whatever it wasn't dropping by for coffee. We stood there, tower groaning under us, and I couldn't shake the chill. The scratches, the blood, that flicker, it was stacking up, and not in a cozy way. Mia forced a grin, clapping my shoulder. Let's head back, scope it out. I nodded, but as we started down, I kept glancing at the woods, feeling like we'd just nudged something we shouldn't have. The mist was thickening, curling around the trees, and every step back felt heavier, like we were being watched, and not by anything friendly. Mia's ahead, moving quick, but I'm taking it slow. Those blood smears on the stairs are clawing at my brain. The metal creaks under us, mist swirling thick, and I'm replaying that flicker near camp. We hit the ground, and my boots sink into the damp earth, the silence pressing in like a bad hangover. We start back, Mia clutching her sketchbook like it's armor. Maybe it's a fox, she says, but her voice wobbles. She's not buying it. I don't either. Foxes don't leave blood on towers or move like that. The trail's familiar, but it's wrong now. Too dark, too still. I keep my Polaroid up, lens fogging in the damp, like it'll catch whatever's out there. We're almost to camp when the smell hits, sickly sweet, like roadkill and wet ash, strong enough to gag on. I choke, covering my mouth. What's that? Mia nods toward camp, her face tight. We push on, and there it is, our tent's in view, but something standing by it. Tall, lanky, with this patchy, dark hide that looks like it's peeling. Its arms hang too low, twitching like they're alive on their own, and its head's just blank. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth nothing. My stomach flips. It's horror straight out of a fever dream, parked right where we crashed last night. Mia freezes, sketchbook slipping. Harper, what the hell? I nod, fumbling with my Polaroid. Dumb, I know, but I snap a shot, the click echoing loud. It jerks, head tilting slow, and I swear it feels me. Those empty sockets lock on, and my chest seizes. It's scary as hell, standing there like it's been waiting. We gotta go, I whisper, but Mia's stuck, staring. It steps forward, crunching something. Bones, small and wet. Underfoot, blood glinting on its hands. Run, I yell, yanking her arm. We bolt, crashing through the brush, my guitar strap snagging branches. That smell chases us, thick and nauseating, and I hear it. A low, wet gurgle, like it's breathing through muck. I glance back, it's moving, steady, cutting through the trees like it owns them. My lungs burn, but I don't stop. It's disturbing, unhurried, and way too close. We hit a dip, tumbling down, rocks biting my shins. Mia's sketchbook flies, gone, and I haul her up, my Polaroid swinging wild. Keep moving, I shout, voice cracking. Camp's trash behind us, tent ripped, cooler flipped, like it had torn through while we were gone. My shot's still in my hand, blurry but real, and I'm kicking myself. Did that click set it off? We stumble into a creek bed, water shallow but cold, soaking my jeans. That gurgle's still there, bouncing off the pines, and Mia's panting, eyes huge. What is it? She gasps, but I've got no clue, just terror. It's not some ranger ghost story. This is worse, something that doesn't fit. We spot a bank ahead, steep but climbable. Up, I say, clawing at roots, pulling her with me. We scramble over, gasping, and I look back. It's at the creek's edge, staring up, that blank face tilted like it's studying us. My hands shake, the Polaroid strap cutting my neck. Road's gotta be close. I rasp, desperate. Mia nods, but her face says it all. We're running on fumes, and this thing's not backing off. The gurgle spikes, wet and loud, and I know it's coming. We're alive, barely, but stuck in its web. The mist choking everything, and every move feels like it's watching, waiting for us to slip. Austin's bar lights feel like a lifetime ago. I'd trade this nightmare for a rowdy drunk any day. That thing's gurgle is right behind us, wet and close, and that rot stinks clogging my throat. Mia's ahead, scrambling up the bank, and I'm shoving her forward, praying we hit something. Anything, to outrun this. Road, Mia gasps, pointing through the mist. It's there, gravel, rough, but real. We bolt for it, branches clawing my arms, my boots slipping in the muck. My Polaroid's a cracked mess now, strap tangled, but I can't drop it. Not yet. That gurgle spikes, too near, and I don't look back. Won't. We hit the road, legs jelly, and spot a glint. An old Ranger truck, parked crooked, door ajar like someone bailed fast. We dive in, Mia behind the wheel, me shotgun, and she fumbles for keys. Under the mat, I yell, spotting them. She twists, the engine coughs, then roars. Go, I shout, slamming my door as she floors it. Gravel kicks up, the truck lurching, and I twist around. That thing's at the road's edge, loping after us, its blank face tilted like it's mad. Those arms flop wrong, too long, and it's quick, too quick. My heart's pounding, it's horror in motion, and we're barely pulling away. The truck bounces, shocks creaking, and Mia's gripping the wheel like it's life. Hold on, she yells, swerving around a rut. I brace the dash, my cracked lens banging my ribs, and watch it in the mirror, closing, relentless. The road twists, pines blurring, and I'm cursing every step that got us here, climbing that tower, snapping that pick. It's gaining, and the truck's rattling like it might die. We hit a straight stretch, and Mia guns it, engine howling. Come on, you bastard, she mutters, like it'll listen. I glance back. It's still there, a dark smear in the dust, but we're edging ahead, bit by bit. My hands shake, jerky bag digging into my hip, useless now. The gurgle fades, swallowed by the roar, and I think maybe we've got a chance, slim, but real. Then the road drops, a bridge, wood planks over a dry gulch. Slow down, I shout, but Mia's too wired, hits it full tilt. The boards groan, cracking loud, and the truck fishtails. My side slams the rail, wood splintering. We make it, skidding onto gravel, but I hear it. That thing's on the bridge, planks snapping under it. I look back. It stopped, staring, like the gulch is a wall it won't cross. Keep going. I snap, and Mia doesn't flinch. We barrel on, the truck shaking like it's about to give out. Sacramento's out there, somewhere, and I'm clinging to that. Lights, people, anything but this. The gurgle's gone, but my pulse won't quit. It's disturbing how tight we cut it. My hands are raw, gripping the seat, and I can't shake that blank face. Did it stop? Or is it just biding its time? Pavement hits, real road, smooth under the tires. Mia eases off, breathing hard, and I slump back, sweat stinging my cuts. We're okay, she says, voice thin. I nod, but I'm not sold. That thing's still out there, and we're not clear yet. The truck's limping, gas low, but we're moving. I keep checking the mirrors, expecting it to pop up, but it's just us and the road. Alive, for now, but it doesn't feel like we've won. Not with that thing still lurking in the mist. Austin's barstool chaos feels like a fairy tale next to this hell. The engine's growling, Mia's knuckles white on the wheel, and we're both quiet, like words might break the spell. That thing's gurgle is gone, the forest fading in the rear view, but I can't shake the ice in my veins, like it's still out there, waiting. We roll into a diner lot just outside town, neon flickering, a few pickups parked lazy. Mia cuts the engine, and we sit there, breathing hard. My hands are scraped bloody, jerky bag squashed in my pocket, and my guitar's long gone, left in the tent. We made it, she says, half laughing, like she's testing it. I nod, forcing a grin, but my gut's still churning. Too close, way too close. I climb out, legs shaky, and Mia heads inside to call a friend. Phones are dead out here. I lean on the truck, gulping air, trying to stitch it together. That blank face, those bones, the way it moved, none of it adds up. Sacramento's lights glow faint ahead. Normal life, so near I can smell it. I dig out my jerky, chew a piece, salty, grounding, but it doesn't touch the nerves. Mia comes back, waving a coffee. "To's coming," she says. "We're good." We sip the burnt brew. Perched on the curb, the diner's buzz a lifeline. Mia sketches on a napkin, hands steadying, and I almost relax. Almost. She wants to wait here, let her buddy pick us up. "No more woods," she jokes, and I laugh, weak. Big mistake, not bailing right then. I nod, sipping, when Mia decides to grab her bag from the truck. "One SEC," she says, hopping up. I stay put, too wrecked to move. Then I hear it. That wet gurgle, faint but sharp, cutting through the diner's hum. My head snaps up, coffee splashing, and I see it. Across the lot, by the trees lining the road. That thing, lanky and eyeless, stepping out slow, watching. "Mia," I yell, lurching up, but she's at the truck, rummaging inside. It moves, fast, silent, crossing the lot in a heartbeat. I'm running, screaming her name, but it's on her before I'm close. She doesn't even turn, just a gasp as it grabs her, arms coiling tight, and yanks her back toward the trees. I lunge, grab her hand, but it's like pulling against steel, too strong. She slips, eyes wide, and it drags her into the dark, her sketchbook hitting the dirt. I hear a snap. Her neck, maybe, and she's gone, the gurgle fading fast. I stumble, fall, a waitress shouting behind me, but the lot's empty, nothing but her bag and blood on the gravel. Cops swarm in, lights flashing, asking stuff I can't answer. Some animal. I choke out, but they don't bite. No tracks, no body. Just me, a shaking wreck. They search, find Zip, just the trash truck and her napkin sketch of the tower. I hitch to Sacramento, crash in a cheap motel, staring at my Polaroid. Every creak's that gurgle now, every shadow's that blank face. Mia's gone, my best friend, my rock, and it's on me. I should have pushed us to leave, should have fought harder. That horror followed us, took her right under those lights, and left me with nothing but guilt. I'm back in Austin now, bar untouched, jumping at every noise. It's still out there, and I'm terrified it's not done with me. It's a tragedy I can't undo, and the worst part? I think it let me live to twist the knife deeper. I'm Theo Miles Bennett, 32 years old, and I'm usually holed up in Portland, Oregon, running a little record store and spinning vinyl when the rain's too thick to step outside. I'm a music nerd at heart, but I've got this pull for the wild. Something about the quiet resets me. That's why, when my buddy Quinn hit me up about a camping trip near Sacramento, I didn't think twice. He's 33, a tattoo artist from Bend, Oregon, with a laid-back streak and a thing for offbeat spots. Quinn's plan was killer. A weekend in the Tahoe National Forest, just north of Sacramento, near an old Ranger lookout tower he'd heard about from some inked-up client. "It's raw, Theo," he said over a scratchy call, voice buzzing. No crowds, just vibes. I was sold. Portland's drizzle was drowning me, and I needed air. A tower in the woods sounded perfect, maybe a chance to lug my portable turntable and test some acoustics. I packed light, sleeping bag, my turntable, a stack of records, and hit the road, meeting Quinn in Sacramento after a 6-hour haul. He rolled up in his dented van, tattoos peeking from his sleeves, grinning wide. "Ready to unplug?" he asked, tossing me a soda. We swapped tales, me on vinyl hunts, him on Ben's quirky clients, and headed north, pavement fading into Tahoe's thick pines. We pulled into a clearing as the sun dipped low, painting the forest red. The tower was close, a half-mile off, maybe. This rusted spike jutting through the trees, a Ranger relic left to rust. We unloaded, tent, his sketchpad, my records, and set up quick. I'm solid with pegs, so I pitched the tent while Quinn gathered wood, razzying me about my hipster gear. Fire crackling, we settled in, the air cool and earthy. We popped some beers, Quinn's stash, cold as hell, and sprawled by the flames. I spun a scratchy jazz record on the turntable, notes drifting into the dark, while he doodled the tower in his pad. "Rangers manned that thing back in the day," he said, pen scratching. "Watching fires, living solo." I nodded, sipping my drink, digging the vibe. Felt good, you know? Pure. The fire snapped, throwing shadows, and we traded stories. Him about a botched tattoo, me about a rare vinyl score. Quinn's laugh cut through the quiet, rough and easy. I leaned back, beer in hand, soaking it in. No city hum, no customers, just us and the woods. The tower loomed, a dark slash against the stars, and I couldn't help but eye it. Something about it hooked me. Night rolled in, the forest buzzing, crickets, wind, a distant coyote. Quinn stretched, yawning. "This is the life, huh?" he said, and I grinned. Damn right it was. We crashed in the tent, him sketching by flashlight, me fiddling with my turntable's needle. The tower stuck in my head, standing there like it owned the place. I didn't clock it then, just drifted off, figuring we'd check it out tomorrow. Sleep hit easy, Quinn's breathing steady beside me. The woods hummed outside, a rhythm I could feel. I had no idea we'd just walked into something way darker than a chill escape. That tower was waiting, and we were too clueless to catch it. The fire was a sad pile of ash, and that ranger tower cut through the mist, sharp and still. Portland's rain's got nothing on this chill. It's raw, hits you deep. I grabbed a record sleeve, fanned myself awake. Dumb, but it worked. Quinn stumbled out, yawning, his tattoos stark against the gray. "You hogged the blanket, Theo," he grumbled, digging for coffee in his bag. "Bull," I shot back, grinning as I tossed him a water bottle. We fumbled with the stove, me cursing when I singed my fingers, him laughing, and brewed some instant junk. "It's bitter, tastes like regret, but it's warm." He handed me a granola bar. "Fuel up," he said. I munched. Good enough. The plan was to hike to the tower, Quinn's big idea. "We'll climb it, sketch some ink," he said, eyes gleaming. I was down. Great acoustics for a record spin, maybe, but something about it felt off, too quiet maybe. Still, I packed my turntable, a couple LPs, while Quinn grabbed his pens. "My tools," he winked. We set off, the trail soft and slick, pines looming like they're sizing us up. The hike was short but thick with fog. The woods hushed. No birds, no breeze, just our steps. Quinn noticed, frowning. "Dead out here, huh?" I nodded, adjusting my turntable strap, trying to ignore the itch in my chest. The tower loomed closer, its steel frame jagged against the mist. It's got that abandoned vibe, like it's been sulking since Sacramento's rangers bailed. I brushed a post, cold, rough, and spotted gouges, deep scratches etched into the metal. "Bear," I said, half asking. Quinn squinted, tracing them. "Dunno, looks off." My stomach did a little flip, but I let it go. "We're here to chill, right?" He wanted to climb, bouncing on his heels. "Come on, Theo, it's fine," he said, starting up. I hesitated. Those stairs looked shaky, gaps wide enough to trip, but followed, turntable banging my hip. The metal groaned, swaying a bit, and I gripped the rail tight. Halfway up, I stopped, catching my breath, and saw it. A smear on the step below, dark, sticky. "Quinn, look," I called. He leaned down, frowning. "Blood." We locked eyes, the air getting heavy. "Old, probably," he said, but it didn't look old, too wet. I wiped my hand on my jeans, pulse ticking up, and we kept going. At the top, the view's wild. Tahoe stretching out, Sacramento somewhere south, but that smear stuck with me. Quinn set up his sketch pad, scribbling fast, while I balanced my turntable, spinning a mellow track. Hiss and crackle cutting the quiet. Then I saw it, a flicker near camp, quick and low, darting through the trees. "You see that?" I said, pausing the needle. He grabbed my arm, pointing. "There again." Something moved, smooth and fast, not human. Camper, I hoped, but it didn't fit. Quinn shook his head slow. "Too weird." My hands tightened on the turntable. Whatever it wasn't dropping by for a jam. We stood there, tower creaking under us, and I couldn't shake the chill. The scratches, the blood, that flicker, it was piling up, and not in a good way. Quinn forced a grin, clapping my back. "Let's head down, check it out." I nodded, but as we started back, I kept eyeing the woods, feeling like we'd just nudged something we weren't ready for. The fog was thickening, curling around the pines, and every step felt like it was pulling us deeper into something we didn't sign up for. Quinn's ahead, moving quick, but I'm taking it slow. Those blood smears on the stairs are gnawing at me. The metal creaks, fog swirling thick, and I'm replaying that flicker near camp. We hit the ground, my boots sinking into the damp, and the silence feels like it's choking us. We head back, Quinn gripping his sketch pad like it's a shield. Maybe it's a deer, he says, but his voice shakes. He's not sold. I'm not either. Deer don't smear blood on towers or move that slick. The trail's the same, but it's off. Too dark, too quiet. I keep my turntable slung tight, like it'll save me, records rattling inside. We're almost to camp when the smell hits, sharp, like burnt plastic and wet rot, thick enough to make my eyes sting. I gag, covering my nose. What's that? Quinn nods toward camp, his face tight. We push on, and there it is, our tent's in sight, but something standing by it. Tall, bony, with this patchy, gray hide that looks like it's melting. Its arms dangle too low, fingers twitching, and its head's just nothing. No eyes, no mouth, just a smooth blank. My gut drops. It's horror straight out of a bad trip, parked right where we slept. Quinn freezes, sketchpad slipping. Theo, what the hell? I nod, fumbling with my turntable. Stupid, I know, but I crank the volume, jazz blaring loud. It jerks, head tilting slow, and I swear it hears it. Those empty sockets zero in, and my chest locks up. It's scary as hell, standing there like it's been waiting. We gotta go, I rasp, but Quinn's stuck, staring. It steps forward, crunching bones, small, fresh, underfoot, blood glinting on its hands. Run, I yell, yanking him back. We bolt, crashing through the brush, my turntable slamming my ribs. That smell chases us, heavy and sick, and I hear it, a low, grinding hum, like it's vibrating through the dirt. I glance back, it's moving, steady, cutting through the trees like it knows every root. My lungs burn, but I don't stop. It's disturbing, unhurried, and way too close. We hit a slope, sliding down, rocks tearing at my jeans. Quinn's sketchpad flies, gone, and I haul him up, my records rattling loose. Keep going, I shout, voice breaking. Camp's trash behind us, tent slashed, beer cans scattered, like it had ripped through while we were gone. My turntable's needle skips, jazz cutting out, and I'm kicking myself. Did that sound tip it off? We stumble into a dry wash, tripping over stones, and that hum's still there, echoing off the pines. Quinn's panting, eyes wild. What is it? He gasps, but I've got nothing, just panic. It's not a ranger ghost. This is worse, something that doesn't belong. We spot a ridge ahead, steep but climbable. Up, I say, clawing at roots, pulling him with me. We crest it, gasping, and I look back. It's at the wash's edge, staring up, that blank face tilted like it's curious. My hands shake, turntable strap cutting my shoulder. Road's gotta be near. I choke out, desperate. Quinn nods, but his face says it all. We're running on empty, and this thing's not letting up. The hum spikes, loud and low, and I know it's climbing. We're alive, barely, but trapped in its game. The fog's swallowing everything, and every step feels like it's watching, waiting for us to break. That thing's hum is right behind us, grinding low, and that rot stinks clogging my throat. Quinn's ahead, clawing through the fog, and I'm shoving him forward, praying we hit something. Anything, to outrun this nightmare. Road, Quinn yells, pointing through the mist. It's there, gravel, rough, but real. We bolt for it, branches snagging my jacket, my boots slipping in the muck. My turntable's a wreck now, records loose, but I can't ditch it. Not yet. That hum spikes, too close, and I don't look back, can't. We hit the road, legs shaking, and spot a glint. An old ranger bike, propped against a tree, keys in the lock like someone bailed fast. We dive for it, Quinn on the seat, me behind, and he twists the key. It sputters, coughs, then roars. Hold on, I shout, gripping his waist as he guns it. Gravel sprays, the bike lurching forward, and I twist around. That thing's at the road's edge, loping after us, its blank face tilted like it's pissed. Those arms swing wrong, too long, and it's fast, too fast. My heart's hammering, it's horror on the move, and we're barely ahead. The bike weaves, tires skidding, and Quinn's leaning hard into the turns. Don't let go, he yells, voice cutting through the wind. I cling tighter, my cracked turntable banging my ribs, and watch it in the mirror, closing, relentless. The road twists, pines blurring, and I'm cursing every dumb choice. Climbing that tower, blasting that jazz. It's gaining, and the bike's whining like it's on its last legs. We hit a straight stretch, and Quinn floors it, engine screaming. "Come on, you bastard," he mutters, like it'll listen. I glance back. It's still there, a gray smear in the dust, but we're pulling away, inch by inch. My hands shake, record slipping loose, useless now. The hum fades, swallowed by the roar, and I think maybe we've got a shot, thin, but real. Then the road dips, a bridge, old planks over a dry creek. "Slow down," I shout, but Quinn's too wired, hits at full speed. The boards crack, splintering loud, and the bike fishtails. My side slams the rail, with snapping. We make it, skidding onto gravel, but I hear it. That thing's on the bridge, planks busting under it. I look back. It stopped, staring, like the creek's a line it won't cross. "Keep going," I snap, and Quinn doesn't argue. We barrel on, the bike rattling like it's about to die. Sacramento's out there, somewhere, and I'm clinging to that. Lights, safety, anything but this. The hum's gone, but my pulse won't quit. It's disturbing how close we cut it. My hands are raw, gripping Quinn, and I can't shake that blank face. Did it stop, or is it just waiting? Pavement hits, real road, smooth under the tires. Quinn eases off, breathing hard, and I slump against him, sweat stinging my eyes. "We're good," he says, voice rough. I nod, but I'm not sold. That thing's still out there, and we're not clear yet. The bike's limping, gas low, but we're moving. I keep checking behind, expecting it to pop up, but it's just us and the road. Alive, for now, but it doesn't feel like a win. Not with that thing still haunting the fog. The engine's whining, Quinn's locked on the handlebars, and we're both quiet, like talking might summon that thing back. Its hum's gone, the forest fading behind, but I can't shake the ice in my bones, like it's still out there, smirking. We roll into a gas station just outside town, pumps flickering under weak lights, a couple cars idling nearby. Quinn cuts the engine, and we sit there, panting hard. My hands are scraped raw, records lost to the woods, and my turntable's a cracked shell. "We're alive," he says, half laughing, like he's testing it. I nod, forcing a grin, but my gut's still knotted. Too tight, way too tight. I slide off, legs wobbly, and Quinn heads inside to call a buddy. Phones are useless out here. I lean on the bike, sucking air, trying to piece it together. That blank face, those bones, the way it moved, none of it tracks. Sacramento's glow hums ahead. Normal life, so close I can taste it. I dig out my soda can, dented, warm, and sip, the fizz grounding me a bit. Quinn comes back, waving a water. "Ride's coming," he says. We're set. We perch on the curb, sipping, the station's buzz a lifeline. Quinn doodles on his arm with a pen, steadying himself, and I almost unwind. Almost. He wants to wait here, crash at his friend's place. "No more forests," he jokes, and I chuckle, weak. Big mistake, not bailing right then. I nod, gulping water, when Quinn decides to check the bike's tank. "1 SEC, he says, hopping up. I stay put, too beat to move. Then I hear it. That low hum, faint but sharp, slicing through the pump's drone. My head jerks up, water spilling, and I see it. Across the lot, by the trees lining the road. That thing, bony and eyeless, stepping out slow, watching. "Quinn," I yell, lurching up, but he's bent over the bike, fiddling with the cap. It moves, fast, silent, crossing the lot in a flash. I'm running, screaming his name, but it's on him before I'm halfway there. He doesn't even look up, just a grunt as it grabs him, arms coiling tight, and yanks him toward the trees. I lunge, grab his sleeve, but it's like fighting a wall, too strong. He slips, eyes wide, and it drags him into the dark, his pin hitting the pavement. I hear a crack, his spine, maybe, and he's gone, the hum fading fast. I stumble, fall, a clerk shouting behind me, but the lot's empty, nothing but his sketch pad and blood on the gravel. Cops swarm in, lights blazing, asking stuff I can't answer. Some animal. I mutter, but they don't buy it. No tracks, no body, just me, a shaking wreck. They search, find zilch, just the trashed bike and his doodle of the tower. I hitch to Sacramento, crash in a cheap motel, staring at my turntable. Every hum's that sound now, every shadow's that blank face. Quinn's gone, my road dog, my anchor, and it's my fault. I should have pushed us to leave, should have fought harder. That horror trailed us, took him right under those lights. and left me with nothing but guilt. I'm back in Portland now, shop closed, jumping at every creek. It's still out there, and I'm terrified it's not done with me. It's a tragedy I can't spin away, and the worst? I think it let me live to hear the silence where he should be.